media from the Middle East, and I guess throwing a shoe at someone is a sign of disrespect, which I don't think is all that, frankly, outrageous. That sounds disrespectful to me, I suppose.
Well, it's different societies, cultures.
And Bush was pretty good at ducking those two shoes.
Yeah.
And the Secret Service, again, was heavily criticized for not...
How did you let somebody in there with shoes?
With shoes on. Or the fact that he got a second shoe thrown at him.
Yeah.
Well,
when you think about it, there were 2 attempts on Gerald Ford's life.
Right. Squeaky Fromm.
Right. And the other one.
There was another one. A rock was thrown at the limousine once. There was a great story of how a kid somehow got through a roadblock and wrecked into the presidential limo in his car. He was about 20 years old. So, well, 15 minutes from now, we're going to hit that CBS News brief. Coming up here when we come back, Southwestern Pennsylvania Executive Director Rich Fitzgerald, who works with counties all through the region of Southwestern Pennsylvania. We're going to talk to him. But first, let's head to CBS News for that news brief on your local station, WMBS.
CBS News brief. The U.S. military is still guiding stranded ships in the Strait of Hormuz in an effort to reopen the critical waterway. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
We're doing it not only because we were asked, but because we're the only ones who can. We have the power to sort of take the steps that we've taken now.
Secretary Rubio also says the mission is a defensive operation. Spain will receive a cruise ship stricken by a deadly hantavirus outbreak in 3 to 4 days in the Canary Islands, according to Maria Van Kerkhoff of the World Health Organization.
Right now, there aren't any specific treatments for hantavirus, but care is supportive.
The Alabama legislature has held a special session to plan for a redistricting proposal. Republican State Senator Chris Elliott.
We are here to preserve the option to go back to the maps that this elected body passed overwhelmingly in both chambers, and the governor signed into law.
Democrats denounce the legislation as a Republican power grab. CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
The countdown is on. The 2026 Best in Fayette contest is back and bigger than ever. Nominations kick off May 27th and the official vote begins June 24th. And this year, we're expanding with brand new categories, including tattoo artists, fish fries, general contractors, junk removal, credit unions, trivia nights, remodelers, property management, and a lot more. Whatever you're looking for, your voice defines the best of our community. Don't miss out. For more info, visit bestinfayette.com.
May is the month of flowers, and there's no better way to celebrate Mom than with a gift from Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop in Smithfield. Whether she's dreaming of a gorgeous hanging basket or a lush, vibrant fern, Miller's is blooming with options. As a full-service flower shop, they specialize in dazzling, fresh arrangements with daily deliveries to Uniontown and the surrounding areas. You have any spring projects planned? Well, Miller's Greenhouses are bigger and better than ever. Explore a massive selection of annuals, perennials, and vegetable plants, plus trees, shrubs, mulch, and stone to make your landscaping the envy of the neighborhood. They also offer a respectful variety of cemetery decorations and unique gift items inside the shop. Visit Miller's on Route 119 in Smithfield, Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sunday, 10 to 5. Call 724-564-2696 to order your Mother's Day flowers today. Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop.
Voted best in Fayette for auto service and tires, Tireman's Auto Garage is your go-to spot for the best tires at the lowest prices. On a budget? They've got you covered with quality used tires starting at just $25 each, including mounting and balancing, all with deep tread you can trust. Whether you need new or used tires, you'll always get the best service at the best price. Tireman's Auto Garage also offers financing options through ACEMA and Snap Leasing, making it easier than ever to get back on the road. Tireman's expert technicians handle it all: diagnostics, alignments, oil changes, state inspections, batteries, brakes, rotors, and more. Have you driven by Tireman's lately? Check out their golf carts available in 2, 4, and 6-seaters, gas or electric, with ACEMA leasing available. Ask Joe and Kim about rentals too. Tireman's Auto Garage on Mill Street, your one-stop shop for tires, services, and more. Call 425-9606.
Tune in each Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1 for Garden Talk Radio. It's the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show, topic-focused, guests from across the country, and answering your garden questions. Send your questions in now to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1. Catch the replay Monday evenings from 6 to 7 p.m.
Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals. Locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
WMBS.
Bill Madden producing the show tonight. He is our music expert. His DJ credentials are very strong. 25 or 6 to 4 by Chicago.
Correctamundo.
What does that mean?
It means, and this shows you I know way too much crap, is that Robert Lamb was writing a song like at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Okay.
And he was describing what he was doing, looking for the break of day, looking for something to say. And then he looked at the clock, and he couldn't figure out if it was 25 or 26 to 4.
And he needed to know within a minute, 60
Right.
seconds, which it was. Very interesting.
Well, you know, these jazz players, they're very exact.
25 or 6 to 4. There's some great lines in songs over the years. I said to no one there and no one heard at all, not even the chair. Don't know what that means by Neil Diamond.
Yeah,
but
but if the chair does say something, then you're
then
in
you
trouble.
go, yeah, that was the 60s, and that was written, and heaven knows what was happening in the brain of the composer at that
That would
point.
be Neil Diamond.
Nobody's more clear-headed than our next guest. How about that for a transition? And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, the executive director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, which oversees, I don't know if that's the right word, but works with all the counties in southwestern Pennsylvania, Rich Fitzgerald. Rich, it's been a busy time in southwestern Pennsylvania lately, has it not? How are you, by the way? Thanks for being with us.
I'm doing well. There's a lot going on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We had a busy couple of weeks with the world looking at us during the NFL draft and the big marathon last week, and lots going on.
And I think a lot of the bigwigs who were part of that draft, whether they were the draftees or current players or former players making announcements, a lot of them came through Fayette County here, staying up at Nemacolin Woodlands, I understand. The class of 5-star.
There was a huge reception up there. I know the governor was there and many others at a big reception in Nemacolin. And, yeah, it was a big thing for this whole region. I mean, I think the city, where a lot of it was focused on, looked very nice. The skyline looked great. We couldn't argue at all that we got the nicest weather I think you could ever imagine for late April. Sometimes we have storms and other things that could happen, but it was just beautiful. And the way people came together, Doug, was so many, the county commissioners from the government level to the private sector, the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, just all the Visit Pittsburgh, the conference. So many people came together, and it worked. It worked very well.
Right, and when you get that many people together, I mean, you looked at those photos and the videos, and I was down there for part of it. I couldn't decide whether the Pope was in town or it was another image of Woodstock. I mean, that's what it was like when you just saw this sea of people. And when you think about the minute amount of problems, I mean, you put that many people together anywhere and you're going to have issues. But my gosh, there was a minor, and I don't want to focus on any of that, but it was diminutive, the issues that happened. Really amazing that people came together and just had a good time.
They really did, and I also want to give PennDOT some really great credit and our law enforcement that did on the security things. They made things seamless where people could move, and when you move in that many people, the transit agencies all work together. That was an amazing thing too, because I mean, sometimes we don't work together as the fiefdoms come about, territorialism, and all those kind of things. They worked seamlessly together. It was really well done. You know, there were people that probably rode transit because they were afraid of driving in and paying, you know, exorbitant rates for parking, and decide, you know what, I'm going to drive to a parking ride in Monroeville or Washington County or, you know, up in Cranberry, and then take the transit in. And it worked. And everybody I talked to said, boy, that was great. It was so easy. It took us right in. And, you know, PennDOT created, you know, bus-only lanes in certain roads. And it just, again, the planning and the amount of meetings. I was in many of the meetings and probably still only in, you know, a very small percentage of the meetings. And planning and execution was really great, from the Steelers and the NFL to all the community groups on down.
Yeah, and even though it was in the city of Pittsburgh, it really does shine well for southwestern Pennsylvania, because you know some of those folks who stayed up at Nemacolin, they're saying, I had no idea there was a place like this in southwestern Pennsylvania, in Fayette County, and Nemacolin Woodlands. I guess just Nemacolin now these days they call it. So maybe they'll come back someday, and they'll say, wow, I can fly right into here on a small jet. Yeah, I'll fly in here and bring my family back. So, yeah, it's a great, it was a great opportunity. We're a little biased here in Fayette County about Nemacolin, of course, and the amount of workers that are there and the economic impact that Joe Hardy's pipe dream at the time. I think folks thought he was nuts when he bought the old Rockwell estate, and that's what it was. It was the Rockwell family's private estate, and it just it bodes very well for this corner of Pennsylvania. And just you talked about the transit. They interviewed some people on the TV news. One guy said, you know, I'd never been on a bus in my life. he said, wow, they're really clean, and and the air conditioning was working. So, yeah, it maybe some people will start taking transit again. And of course, it was made smart. I'm lucky enough to live in the South Hills. I never go to a Pirate, Steeler, or Penguin game without hopping on the T. So yeah, I think it'll reintroduce people to things like that who maybe haven't ridden public transit in a while. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you're right, and I think, you know, there's nothing like knowing you're going to have to pay $200 to park your car all day.
Yeah,
to make you think that, like, maybe I'll try this other thing that's either free or a couple bucks or whatever it might be, because some of it was free. Sheets had sponsored some of it, and there's some other sponsors that paid for transit, you know. But in any event, you're exactly right. And you think about it, you know, you can get on a public transit, whether it's a T in the South Hills or a bus from other parts, and, you know, it takes you right into work. If you're working in, you know, say you're working in downtown Pittsburgh or working in Oakland or wherever you might, or out by the airport, wherever you might be, you know, and you could work on your phone, you could take a little nap, you could relax and not have to sit there, you know, white knuckling it, you know, down the Parkway or down Route 51 or whichever way you travel to get to your place of work. But, you know, yeah, I think people did realize. And the other thing that I think about, and I would love to see this happen, is the transit agencies do more cooperation the way they do in the Southeast. They have SEPTA in the Southeast, where it's a 5-county, you know, transit system. And, you know, a lot of people would, you know, be able to take, if you live in Fayette County or you live in Westmoreland County or you live in Washington County, to be able to, you know, take the transit system that could take you back and forth in a maybe a more seamless way. So, and it could save some money probably, which are always looking for, you know, the type of funding that you need to operate transit. So this might be an eye-opener for, you know, a lot of those folks in Harrisburg to figure out this might be something we could take a look at.
Yeah, the Fayette Area Coordinated Transit, FACT, the system here, of course, people do live here and work in Pittsburgh. They take that bus to Pittsburgh.
Well, they offered a free ride.
Yeah, they did, exactly. And it's got, and it's as modern as it comes. You have Wi-Fi on the buses. You can check your phone, the app, to find out when your bus is going to arrive. So who would think you'd have something like that when you and I, the three of us, Bill Madden in our studio with us here, when we were young, like, where the heck's the bus? Nowadays, you can look on a phone and find out where your bus is.
Yeah, the only way before was to stick your neck
down the road, and see if the bus was coming.
Well, I'm curious, does this bode well to getting major events in this area like maybe one of the national conventions or something like that.
You read my show notes. That was another question. That's a good question. Yeah. Do you think this?
Well,
this is,
let me tell you a story because I did sit in that seat, when I was county executive a while back, and the convention, the Democrats at this time came to us and was looking in 2016 to do the 2016 convention. It ultimately went to Philadelphia, but in 2015 they came to me and at the time Mayor Peduto and met with us and says, "Would you be interested in hosting the convention?" Of course, we said we would, and I said, well, "What do we need to do?" And they said, "Well, you guys need to probably raise $50 to $60 million to pay for some of the things we're going to need, security and all these other things." Now, that wasn't a lot of money now. It was a lot of money 10 years ago. As we went around to, the Visit Pittsburgh and the corporate community, there wasn't a lot of interest to come up with that kind of money. Now, fast forward 6-7 years later, I was county executive in 22 when the Steelers and said, "How about if we put a bid in for the NFL draft?" And again, my question, what do we need to do? And they said, "Well, you need to come up with $9 or $10 million," which was a much easier lift, obviously, than the 50 or 60. And I came up with a plan in which I thought Allegheny County could put $3 million in, Visit Pittsburgh could put $3 million in, and the city of Pittsburgh could put $3 million in. And that's ultimately the plan that we came up with. So to answer your question, if the economics work, I think we could handle it. That's not the issue sometimes. Sometimes it's how much money you're willing to pay. And, I think at the time the Republican convention went to, I think it was Cleveland that year.
Yes, you're correct.
And their hotel industry was not doing very well. Ours was, and I don't think the hotels felt like they didn't really need this to boost their business because they were doing very well in 2015, 2016. Cleveland had a different mindset maybe at the time. So I guess it depends. Yes, we can handle big events. I don't think we're ever going to get a Super Bowl because they don't like to go to northern cities.
Which is
for something
ridiculous.
like that.
Football should be played in the snow. That's how.
I'm
old
with
school.
you. I love those games when there's you have that kind of look. But in any event, they like to go to Phoenix and L.A. and Florida and Miami, et cetera, et cetera. But yes, we can host big events. I think we showed that you could do that. You can move people in and out. There's a lot of hotels in and around the Golden Triangle. Even if you get a little further out, like the airport, South Point, Cranberry, Monroeville, that you can still, or Nemacolin, that you could still be fairly close to be able to do the big events. So I think you might see our opportunities, and the fact that we did it well, have a nice convention center that you could see some of the bigger conventions come to town.
Yeah, and my gosh, those conventions get so big, they put them in stadiums. They'd end up likely, if they did come to Pittsburgh, either the Democrat or Republican convention, it'd be at PPG Paints. They like to have.
That's probably exactly where it would be. You're exactly right.
Yeah, when you think about the impact that the city was able to, the region, I should say, I keep saying city, the region was able to handle an NFL draft, and then a Pittsburgh Marathon a week later that draws 250,000 viewers, watchers, and then, of course, that marathon goes basically 2 days. And then we were joking. My family and I went to the smallest event of the last 2 weeks, although it was pretty darn big. Pitt's graduation was at Acrisure Stadium. My daughter Claire graduated from Pitt on Sunday, and that's where they had to have it nowadays because they get so many people coming to graduation. They couldn't do it anymore at the Pete in Oakland or at PPG Paints. They had to move it to Acrisure Stadium, and they announced 5,500 names. My daughter was fifth from the end. We didn't think she
and
ever.
It was still worth it to be there. Believe me. You wait. I get it, but that's a special day.
Oh, absolutely.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. And congratulations to you. I'll say this because, back in the day, Doug, you and I probably could get into Pitt fairly easily. Nowadays, to get into that school, you better have some number one, very high great grades. You got to have all the extracurriculars, and you got to have the board scores. So congratulations, number one, to graduation. But first of all, getting into a great school like that was no easy feat.
Yeah, I went to Penn State, and I started in 1981. I couldn't get into Penn State now when I think about my high school.
No, they've upped.
High school grades.
Those two schools have really upped their game.
Yeah, they
no
really
question.
have.
And it's been a great benefit to this entire region that they've done so. And it's great that, again, again, you have to have a graduation in a place like that because you've outgrown the Peterson Event
Yeah,
Center.
that's a nice
So
problem to have.
kudos to the university.
Yeah,
Yep, it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and we were talking with Rich Fitzgerald, Executive Director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, about a variety of issues. Mark Nordenberg was the keynote speaker, or was the commencement speaker at my daughter's graduation. So 3 of my daughters have graduated from Pitt, 1 from Duquesne, and they're all smarter than me. Thank heavens they got their brains and looks from their mom. But I've got 4 kids. You have a lot more than that. So, yeah, we know what it's like to raise a big family. You mentioned, I heard you do an interview recently, and you mentioned a couple of folks who've recently passed, one of which is Richard Simmons, who was, of course, the CEO, president, CEO, I think chair at one point of Allegheny Ludlam Steel, later became Allegheny Technologies, and also Ray Goss, the legendary Ray Goss, who was the play-by-play man for Duquesne basketball, who had done play-by-play for, not a typo, 58 years. Longest in NCAA Division I history. 2 great men who did a great service for our region. I was glad that you brought that up in an interview recently. Those were great men, were they not?
Yeah, they really were. And they really, one, obviously, Ray Goss being somebody who grew up here and is from here. And again, just literally became the voice of Duquesne basketball. And, he had this comforting way of communicating, the Duke basketball. And, I remember even as a kid back in the Red Manning days and, Duquesne basketball, the Nelson twins. And, Ray Goss had a way of really getting you so excited to listen to the game. And as you said, 58 years. What a legacy. And, we've got a couple of those announcers. The other one, Bill Hillgrove on the Pitt side, who's, I think, 56 or 57 years. So, talk about stability in an institution. And, we're such sports crazy folks here in Southwestern Pennsylvania. We root for our teams, and that is a great thing. And you mentioned Dick Simmons. I mean, what a titan of industry. He took at the time a steel company that was really struggling in Allegheny Technology. It became Allegheny Technologies, Allegheny Ludlam at the time, and really created some great economic growth up in what is known as the AK Valley, up in the Leechburg, Vandergrift, Natrona Heights, the area where those steel mills were and are thriving to this day. But then Dick Simmons also was such a great philanthropist, and his support for the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, quite frankly, I'm not sure that they survived during some of those tough times when we were struggling, with corporations not having the kind of funding that they had during the 80s and 90s, and a guy like Dick Simmons, who was not only writing big checks, but creating an area of institution that we probably have one of the greatest symphonies in the country, and for a city our size to have that is a real legacy to Dick Simmons. And I did get to know him. He was just a kind person, a good-hearted person, and didn't grow up here, but he moved to Pittsburgh and fell in love with this place. And we did lose two real treasures of this region, and it's it's something that we want to celebrate their life and their legacy and the things that they did.
Yeah, I'm one of those geeks. When I go to a museum or I don't know, Phipps Conservatory or any museum in this corner of the state, I look at those brass plaques or the list of people who've donated, and rarely will you see one without Richard Simmons' name on it. I mean, because he was so committed to a variety of cultural institutions. And Ray Goss, as you mentioned, beyond, how could you be more impressive than 58 years? But there was another stat about Ray's calling Duquesne games that was even more impressive, is that he only missed two games in 58 years is all he missed. Almost seems impossible. That's Guinness Book of World Record stuff, that you could have that good of attendance. We all wish we had employees who would show up for work at 99.99999%, whatever that is. Amazing guy. I remember listening games on my porch with my dad, Duquesne games. My dad was a Duquesne fan. And we would listen to Ray back when I was a kid, for crying out loud. And it's sort of fascinating stuff. Well, Rich, we like to talk to you. We enjoy our conversations with you. We try to check in with you every couple months to see what the latest is. And of course, you're chairman of your organization is right here, Fayette County Commissioner Vince Vasidis is chair now. In fact, Vince is going to join us at 7:15 tonight. We try to check in with the commissioners here once a quarter and get their take on things.
And Vince is doing a great job, and obviously a son of Fayette County and the community, and just really very active. You know, he was involved in helping organize the draft and some of the transportation stuff that we did, and we've got our really big vote coming up. The every 4-year funding of transportation, the TIP as is known, at our next meeting in June. We'll have our TIP meetings coming up in May, and at all 11 entities, the 10 counties plus the city of Pittsburgh, that'll put their plans and their wishes for transportation. And we know the federal government and the state government, really provide that funding, and we're hopeful that there will be, some robust funding. I'll give you one quick story. We got so much funding last time with the IAJA that was put forth that a certain county executive who, shall remain nameless, decided to put extra money into lighting the 3 county sister bridges. And I didn't do it because I thought there was going to be a draft when I instituted this in 21 and 22. But when those lights for all the teams, the black and gold would come up when the Steelers were up, or the purple would come up when the Ravens were up, or the orange would come up when Denver come up. It really made the city look vibrant. And those are the kind of funding decisions that, Vince and his commissioners will be making over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months as we go through the 4-year funding process. So that's on the calendar as well, and Vince will be leading that over the next 4 years.
I'll just wrap by saying, when I worked for our inspector, he of course served on appropriations. I got a lot of calls from people at times like that.
Yeah.
As you might imagine, they like to have an appropriations member from Pennsylvania. Rich Fitzgerald, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking time to join us. You always give us a lot of extra time. Enjoy our conversations with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Doug. Good
right.
talking to you. Take care.
We'll take a break here, folks. Wrap up hour number 1. Stick around.
Gone to Paradise, the premier Jimmy Buffett tribute band, comes to the State Theater Center for the Arts Saturday, May 9th at 7 p.m. From coast to coast, Gone to Paradise is the go-to tribute band for parrot heads everywhere, as this high-energy and dedicated group of talented musicians captures and celebrates the music of Jimmy Buffett. Gone to Paradise, Saturday, May 9th, 7 p.m. Get tickets online at statetheater.info or call the box office at 724-439-1360.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
If I had 2 heroes growing up, one was Shaft, John Shaft, and of course this is the theme to that great TV show back in the day, and the $6 Million Man, Lee Majors.
We have the money. We have the technology.
Steve Austin. If you could have combined Shaft, well, first off, the coolest guy there ever was on TV, John Shaft.
Oh, yeah.
One cool cat. And then, of course, Steve Austin was an astronaut, and in real life married to Farrah Fawcett. If you could have combined those two, they could have taken over the world.
Yeah.
John Shaft and
To be cool and married to Farrah.
and an astronaut.
Yeah.
Yeah, what could be cooler than that? Thanks, Rich Fitzgerald, for joining us. Great guy. Good to have him with us, and does a great job here with the commission in southwestern PA. Vince Rosides, commissioner, is going to join us at 7:15, and then we're going to check in with our friend Keith Schmidt, political analyst and business consultant. We'll talk to him at 6:35. But we're with you till 9 o'clock. Bob Grove, we're going to talk hockey, and Matt Huff is going to join us as well. But first, the news at 7 on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. On this second day of the U.S. military guiding stranded ships in the Strait of Hormuz, President Trump has just said on social media that he's pausing the U.S.'s Project Freedom to help ships leave that strait. Earlier today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio stressed the mission is not an offensive operation.
This is a defensive operation. And what that means is very simple. There's no shooting unless we're shot at first. Okay? We're not attacking them. But if they're attacking us or they're attacking a ship, you need to respond to them.
The U.S. and its Gulf allies have proposed a UN resolution threatening Iran with sanctions or other measures if it does not stop attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz, stop imposing illegal tolls, and disclose the placement of all mines. The BBC's Chris Barrow says of the cruise ship where a deadly virus has killed 3 people and sickened some others.
The Dutch operator of a cruise ship at the centre of a deadly hantavirus outbreak says 2 specialised aircraft are en route to Cape Verde, where the vessel is anchored to evacuate 2 sick crew members to the Netherlands. 3 people have died, with 2 of the deaths caused by hantavirus.
Tennessee is among the latest southern states to consider redrawing congressional maps. Republican Governor Bill Lee has called Tennessee lawmakers into a special session to consider a plan that could break up the state's lone Democratic-held U.S. House district centered on the majority black city of Memphis. CBS's Nicole Valdez.
One of the main concerns here is what impact this will have on the upcoming midterm elections, recognizing that those candidates who have already qualified and that qualification deadline has long passed will now have to re-qualify, and their campaigns will now have to extend to a much different group of people.
President Trump is bringing back the Presidential Fitness Test Award.
The president signed a proclamation to revive the program that measured students' overall physical fitness.
Grade schoolers across the country competed against each other.
The test was used in public schools for decades and included a mile run, sit-ups, push-ups, and more. But during the Obama administration, the program shifted focus from competition to personal health goals. But now,
we're bringing it back. My administration's working very hard to defend America's cherished athletic traditions.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
The verdict is in for former Patriots receiver Stephon Diggs in a case in which he was accused of assaulting his private chef in a pay dispute. The judge asking the jury foreperson,
on count 1, strangulation or suffocation, what is your verdict? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
On count 2, the charge of assault and battery, what is your verdict? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Diggs' attorney said he denied the charges. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Technical milestone is reached in Britain.
For close to 300 years, the Royal Horticultural Society has kept a herbarium, a record of popular plants grown in the nation's gardens. This week, it recorded its 100,000th entry.
I'm really thrilled that my garden is providing a specimen.
And this is the man who grew it, botanist Jonathan Gregson.
It's really exciting for me.
I know he doesn't sound excited. He is a botanist.
And not any old specimen either, the 100,000th specimen.
A cutting of the shade-loving wild ginger plant has now been pressed and stored with its 99,999 companions. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
U.S. job openings were essentially unchanged at 6.9 million in March, another sign the American labor market remains sluggish even before the full impact of the war hit the economy. The job openings and labor turnover survey shows that layoffs rose in March, but hiring improved and more people quit their jobs. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Sapienza, WMBS's Morning Man, here to remind you of the letters for this week's Name It and Claim It Scrambled Word Game. For the third week in a row, we have 9 letters in this week's puzzle. 9, and they are as follows. Listen up, listen close, listen carefully. O as in ostrich. P as in pound. T as in tarantula. C as in cat. R as in rhinoceros. O as in octopus. E as in eternal. T as in train, and R as in rain. Those letters make up one word. You must use all the letters in your answer. No proper names, please. Should you unscramble those letters into the word we're looking for and are the lucky one chosen, you will win our WMBS Mother's Day prize pack, including a $25 gift card to Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop, a $30 packet of Pennsylvania lottery tickets, a box of chocolates, and some great WMBS swag. Sounds like a great prize pack, huh? Well, here's how you win it. Send in your answer along with your name, address, and phone number to Name It and Claim It. WMBS Radio, 44 South Mount Vernon Avenue, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 15401. Or if you really feel like it, you can drop your answer off personally here at the WMBS Broadcast House at that very same address. Either way, make sure your cards get in by no later than 4 p.m. this Thursday, May 7th. Enter as many times as you like. No purchase is necessary, because it's all from us, your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
As loved ones age, it's important to make sure that they're getting the care and attention that they need. Hillside Manor Personal Care Home aims to make your loved ones as comfortable as possible while still receiving superior care. 4 specialized levels of care and the services of an on-site certified registered nurse practitioner means that care is personalized on an individual level. At the same time, residents can enjoy a hospitable environment. Themed after a small town, the interior of Hillside Manor features a 50s-style diner, movie theater, and common areas. High-priority safety and security measures ensure the safety and protection of all residents and staff members 24 hours a day, and friends and family are encouraged to make frequent visits. If you're looking for a clean, friendly, and safe place for your loved ones, look no further. Hillside Manor Personal Care Home is ready to meet your needs. Call 724-439-2273 for more information. They look forward to meeting you.
Savings are in full bloom at Economy Furnace Company, bringing unbeatable deals on comfort and efficiency. For a limited time, enjoy $500 off a new air conditioning installation or save $1,000 on a complete heating and cooling system upgrade. Keep existing equipment running strong with a discounted $99 tune-up designed to boost performance and extend system life before the summer heat arrives. Economy Furnace Company proudly partners with Amana, a trusted name in American-made HVAC systems known for reliability, innovation, and long-lasting quality. Whether upgrading or maintaining current equipment, these offers make it more affordable to stay comfortable all year long. Backed by expert installation, trusted service, and exceptional value, Economy Furnace Company is committed to keeping homes cool, efficient, and worry-free. Don't miss these limited-time savings. Call Economy Furnace Company at 724-438-4575. Comfort and quality have never been a better deal.
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition. We're with you till 9 o'clock tonight. Of course, we had high school baseball this afternoon. Ringgold lost to Laurel Highlands 10-0 in a six-inning game. The last game of the year, the wrap-up for high school baseball. And it was nice to see the Laurel Highlands pitcher, a senior got the win, and a senior got the walk-off hit. I guess I should have those names. I will mention those names. I'll get them from Nick Barczyk.
Either that or,
Please
Brian might text us.
Yeah, it's so there. You don't often hear that on radio. I'll ask if one of our staffers is listening right now. Text me the name of Laurel Highlands Mustangs pitcher and the player who got the walk-off hit.
What does it say if they never text us back?
That's right. We'll figure it out. But we want to give props where props are due. I want to thank our guest in the first hour, Rich Fitzgerald, Executive Director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. We're talking about the TIP meetings. That's a Transportation Improvement Plan for Southwestern Pennsylvania. And, of course, that all falls under the auspices of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, which is chaired by Fayette County's own Commissioner, Vince Vasidis. As I crinkle my papers here in front of the microphone, we'll talk to him coming up here in a few months. Keith Schmidt, who's president of Bridge Connections, we check in with him every couple of months to get his thoughts on politics, national, local, regional, statewide. Matt Huff is going to join us. He is the founder of Huffy's Heroes, which works with kids who have in need of medical procedures. Interesting story. We're going to talk to him. Brian Morozak, our general manager, suggested him as a guest. I always appreciate those suggestions. And if you ever have suggestions for guests, please send me an email, radiosaltzman@gmail.com, radiosaltzman@gmail.com. You can always watch us on Facebook Live. Tonight we came to you a little late after, I think, the first break because we had a school board meeting that was on Facebook Live tonight. But all that coming up tomorrow, a long show tomorrow from 5 until 9 p.m. Nick will be back in studio. Mentioned a little bit earlier before as we're waiting to talk with Commissioner Vince Vasidis, we'll be talking to him in just the next couple of minutes. Former Pittsburgh Pirates player and batting coach Bob Skinner has died at the age of 94. Skinner, of course, played on the 1960 World Series Pirates team. And I forgot about this. I thought I knew everything about the 79 Pirates. I guess it just slipped my mind. He was the batting coach for the 1979 championship team when they beat Baltimore 3-1. 3-1. They were down 3-1, and they won 4-3. The same thing that happened in 71 against the same team. The Pirates were down 3-1 and came back, won the next 3 to win the World Series. It's a great time to be a kid in southwestern PA, that's for sure. 4 Super Bowls, 2 World Series, 6 division championships for the Pirates, multiple division championships for the Steelers. And then, of course, the Penguins back then weren't winning a lot of games, but the tickets were cheap. And we used to go to a lot of Penguin games for probably $5.
Yeah, I remember paying $8 for a ticket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't get a beer for $8 these days. So,
you can't get it for double that.
As Bill hangs up the phone, are we waiting for our commissioner, or do we have him on the line?
We are waiting for him.
We're waiting for him to call back. Okay, we'll wait for Commissioner Vince Vasidis.
Or come by. Yeah.
Or come by. Okay. Oh, you weren't able to get him on the phone.
Yeah.
I see. Again, saying things on the air you don't hear on the other station.
No.
So we're hoping to hear back from Commissioner Vince Vasidis.
Well, you know how it is, and
All right.
You've ever known anybody who's been in a position like Vince, people are always tugging at your sleeve.
Take a look at that bottom message, if you would, right there, as we wait to talk with Commissioner Vince Vasidis. But let's see what happens here. We'll get him on the line here shortly. You know, the Penguins had a heck of a season. Nobody really expected them to do as well as they did. It started out slow, of course, losing the first 3 games against the Flyers. And what a team to lose to. It was sickening. But I'm telling you, if they'd have won that Game 6, I don't think there was any question they were going to win Game 7 back in Pittsburgh. So it was a good season. We'll talk to Bob Grove about that coming up at 7:35. Bill and I will be talking to him. I'm sorry, correct that. 8:35. We're going to talk to Bob Grove. We'll finish off the night with a discussion with him. It would have been the 4th year in a row the Penguins did not make the playoffs, and I think a lot of people were predicting that. I'm not good enough of an analyst to know those things, but we'll wait and we'll wait and see what happens. I think there's going to be a lot of changes, Bill, in the.
Yeah, we are going to see. First thing off, Evgeny Malkin is a free agent at the end of the season. And, of course, Sydney's going to stay with us.
Until he plays in his 60s, I think.
Yeah, he'll be like Gordie Howe. You know, he wants to play with his grandchildren on the same team, yeah.
Except he doesn't have any children, so that would be tough, yeah.
That would be tough. But that, and Letang, he's still got a couple of years left on his deal. So we shall see what happens. This was just such a surprise, because I remember when the season started and they won the first game, and people were saying, no, don't win. You're supposed to be tanking this season. And so people were, and then they just started winning, and then they lost a little bit, then they continued winning, especially after the break.
No, I think you're right. Hey, we're going to take a quick 1-minute break here, hoping to get Commissioner Vince Riccides on the phone with us here, our quarterly discussion with him. But stick around. We'll be right back.
May is the month of flowers, and there's no better way to celebrate Mom than with a gift from Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop in Smithfield. Whether she's dreaming of a gorgeous hanging basket or a lush, vibrant fern, Miller's is blooming with options. As a full-service flower shop, they specialize in dazzling, fresh arrangements with daily deliveries to Uniontown and the surrounding areas. You have any spring projects planned? Well, Miller's Greenhouses are bigger and better than ever. Explore a massive selection of annuals, perennials, and vegetable plants, plus trees, shrubs, mulch, and stone to make your landscaping the envy of the neighborhood. They also offer a respectful variety of cemetery decorations and unique gift items inside the shop. Visit Miller's on Route 119 in Smithfield, Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sunday, 10 to 5. Call 724-564-2696 to order your Mother's Day flowers today. Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop.
Voted best in Fayette for auto service and tires, Tireman's Auto Garage is your go-to spot for the best tires at the lowest prices. On a budget? They've got you covered with quality used tires starting at just $25 each, including mounting and balancing, all with deep tread you can trust. Whether you need new or used tires, you'll always get the best service at the best price. Tireman's Auto Garage also offers financing options through ASEMA and Snap Leasing, making it easier than ever to get back on the road. Tireman's expert technicians handle it all: diagnostics, alignments, oil changes, state inspections, batteries, brakes, rotors, and more. Have you driven by Tireman's lately? Check out their golf carts, available in 2, 4, and 6-seaters, gas or electric, with ASEMA leasing available. Ask Joe and Kim about rentals, too. Tireman's Auto Garage on Mill Street, your one-stop shop for tires, services, and more. Call 724-425-9606. Is it time for your first home, or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
True to his word, we got Commissioner Vince Riccides on the WMBS talk line. We knew we'd get you, Commissioner. It just took a little work. That's a sign that you're out and about, that's for sure. How are you, by the way, Commissioner? Thanks for joining us.
Good, Doug. I apologize. My phone was acting up. It was low on the charge, and I had to switch phones, so I apologize.
Oh, no reason to apologize.
I didn't realize. I should have checked that.
These things happen. We've all done it. That's
they have that little picture of a battery.
The battery on there. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, I have a backup battery, but I use that charge too.
Well, it proves
I've been
you're
on
a
the
busy
phone
man.
a lot today.
No problem at all. Hey, we first off, we want to say hello to you from Rich Fitzgerald. We had him on the 6 o'clock hour talking about all the activities in southwestern Pennsylvania, and of course, for the folks that weren't listening then, Rich is executive director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, and our guest right now, Commissioner Riccides, as chairman of that commission. And Rich, of course, always has good things to say about you, not just over the air, but privately as well, Vince. He enjoys
Yeah, we
working
get along
with
real well. He's a great person to work with, and I've learned a lot from him. He's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of good contacts, and I'm definitely trying to utilize those in my chairmanship for the SPC.
you. He's an interesting guy. Of course, he was a politician for many years, a Democrat, and I think Republicans are surprised about just how well he works with both sides of the aisle in this position he's in now. Of course, he served as a Allegheny County councilman and then county executive for Allegheny County, but he really, truly knows how to work both sides of the aisle, and you really have to when you're with an organization such as the SPC, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization for this corner of the state. And he brought up the fact that coming up in June, the commission will be talking about and voting on, I suppose, the Transportation Improvement Program TIP, which is a federally mandated 4-year, financially constrained list of proposed, I'm reading this off here, list of proposed high-priority transportation projects, roads, transit, biking, walking within a region. And that's every 4 years, and you're the guy lucky enough to be chairman during it. It's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yes, we've been working on that for a while. It's coming to conclusion, and we'll be passing it in the near future at the next commission meeting. They're held every 2 months, and look forward to getting that completed. And we're also working on a long-range plan. The commission is, and that's just starting. We had one major meeting so far with that, and we'll have several more Zoom meetings or Teams meetings, whatever you want to call them, and also, we'll pass that as well. So we're very busy, and he's raised our profile. We're going to, in June, we're going to Harrisburg, and we'll be going to D.C. in the fall. We're going right to the leaders of the state, to try to get our initiatives passed for the region, which is great because it gives me a second bite at the apple, because we go up there ourselves to Fayette County to lobby and push our priorities, but I have a second chance to mention them when I'm up there for the region as well.
Yeah, the TIP, as it's called, the Transportation Improvement Program, which is for southwestern Pennsylvania, then is incorporated into the STIP. Don't you love all these? That's the State Transportation Improvement Program. So these the projects have a number of funding levels: federal, state, local. The approval process includes comment periods, public hearings, etc. Where are we in that process?
I think that's got a ways to go, but of course it's progressing, and we work close with PennDOT on all these, try to make sure that we work together on whatever projects we're selecting. There's only a certain amount of money that you have, and you have to make it all work. So it's quite a meeting halfway type thing. And PennDOT has their priorities, we have ours, and we try to work together.
Right. Let's move on to other projects here and other topics, I should say, here in Fayette County. And we'd like to check in with our commissioners. Once a quarter, Commissioner Dunn will be on with us tomorrow. We're hoping to set up a meeting, interview rather, with Commissioner Kaufman, Dutch Kaufman, as well. But let's talk about, of course, Penn State Fayette is a topic we're still talking about. Of course, they're just wrapping up their 2025-2026 school year. They will have one school year left, of course, before sadly that campus is shut down. The Eberly campus. I never like to say Penn State Fayette without mentioning the Eberly campus, because the Eberly family has committed so much money to that campus. It's a tough loss for the region, but at the same time, there's a task force involved, correct?
Yes, we have a group, mostly elected officials and some people that work for the county, work for the chamber, a few from education, and we really worked hard. It's almost like a full-time additional job. We're trying to get interest in the campus. We've met with numerous post-secondary educational institutions, all of them around us, and trying to get their interest in the campus. There seems to be a lot of interest. They like our concept. an educational hub where not one school will have the whole campus, but maybe several schools will teach certain curriculums that are, that are needed in the county that will help our employers, with through workforce development type initiatives. And it's really a lot of hope there. The key is we're going to have to get Penn State. I requested the campus from them. It was bought, philanthropy really built that campus, $47 million worth, and we feel that it's only right for them, being a institution that benefited from that, to pass that on back to us so we can have the campus and the buildings. We formed an educational authority, and
that's
to run the land and buildings. And
if Penn State does transfer it, it would be then basically owned, I don't know how else to put it, by that authority, correct?
Yes.
They would be the ownership. Yeah. I know Penn State has not announced what their plans are with these closed campuses, and there's what
I think they're impressed with our plan. They even said maybe if we do this, we could possibly come back as a tenant.
Right.
They start teaching the nursing program. They're interested in that. So are several other schools. But we'd like to see the skilled trades be out there, have that being taught post-secondary, the medical type related fields, primarily nursing, 2- and 4-year degrees, robotics and possibly engineering, hotel and hospitality, and several others. I could go on what we're thinking about, but it all hinges on getting the campus. And if we can get that campus, which I feel we have a really good chance, then we could really make something happen because there's a lot of interest.
Yeah. The idea of a college closing, or a campus in this case closing, is not just a Fayette County or southwestern Pennsylvania issue. I remember I was at a luncheon at which the president of St. Vincent College was talking, and he said in 2025, one college closed per week across America. Per week. 52 colleges, more than 50 colleges closing across the United States, including campuses. So yeah, it is a real change in how colleges are being viewed now. I think there was a time when heavy industry was closing down in so many places here in southwestern PA that the idea of trades was frowned upon, or going to a trade school was frowned upon, Votech school, which I thought was awful. Good luck trying to find. It took us forever to find a plasterer to work in our house. These trades don't exist anymore. Or I shouldn't say don't exist.
There's such a need for that.
Right,
and
exactly.
The demand is going to be very high in the future. That's why we want to include that in the concept of what we're doing. We also, we're on our second round of talks with these different institutions, and they're all still very interested. And so we're waiting. We hope by the end of the summer we'll have an answer on the campus, and we're full speed ahead to try to put something together. We have a lot of philanthropy that are interested in donating and helping, and so there's a real hope there. And we've worked very, very hard, this task force, and forming the authority, being in a position. There's 7 campuses that are closing. We're the most advanced with our plan. We're going to do a feasibility study. We're working on that. We've advanced that along, and we're positioning ourselves to be able to get this up and running as soon as possible if we get the word on obtaining the campus.
Right. Of course, that's the big step as well, as we talk with Commissioner Vince Vasidis on the afternoon drive show. Economic development is always a critical part of the work a county commissioner does, and you and your colleagues work on those projects. I've said so many times, there's not an elected official, and I'm not just saying this because I'm interviewing you, that oversees more things than a county commissioner. I mean, you're both legislative and administrative at the same time.
Yes.
You're responsible for overseeing how many county agencies. Even the courts fall somewhat under your auspices, of course, because they're in county. They're state employees, the courts are, but still they're in the county courthouse. So you name it, from prisons in some cases, to libraries, to bridges, to highways, to health departments. It varies by county. It really is sort of a real hodgepodge of what things county commissioners oversee, and economic development's one of them, correct?
Yes, oh, absolutely. I mean, really, the county code, which empowers the commissioners to do their job, doesn't really include any of that stuff. But to be an effective county commissioner, you have to get involved in all aspects of your community and try to move a lot of things forward on each front. And we're focused on this educational thing. It's a shame that it happened, but we're trying to turn this into a real positive for the future that will benefit, not only our young people, but also the employers that need people in certain job categories that are very hard to get right now. And I think we can make this work. We're also going to open up the campus to the whole community. It's a beautiful campus, and there's gymnasiums and ball fields and auditoriums and a lot of opportunity to bring the people out to that campus. We're going to call it the Eberly campus, and hopefully it'll be a lot of activity. It'll be a real focal point for Fayette County in the future.
Yeah, I remember talking to Bob Eberly III about it, and of course when this was all coming down. But this idea of colleges merging and coming into one campus, I mean, Edinburgh, Clarion, California are all now part of course, Pennsylvania Western University, better known as Penn West. They've merged into one university with 3 campuses, and maybe they'll have spots there. I know up in the...
we've met with them twice, and various schools, schools close to us. We talked to all of them to some degree, and there's a lot of interest, and that's a good thing. And we just need to get the campus under our belt with the educational authority, and we'll be ready to go. Get something, and you got to work on accreditations for these post-secondary curriculums that they want to teach.
Yeah, it's not a simple process, but as sad as folks were, the fact that Penn State decided to keep these campuses open for 2 more years, it allowed kids who were enrolling to be able to do 2 years. Now, I know they're not letting new students onto the campus this year. They did last year, but kids are going to be able to finish their 2-year degree, or if they were doing a 4-year degree, they had 2 more years to finish it. And Penn State, Greater Allegheny, most folks think of it as Penn State McKeesport, will still be there. And it seems, although the university, obviously, it's bad news that they're shutting it down, it seems like they did what they could for the last 2 years, I guess, unless I'm overspeaking it. But
we're looking forward. We can't change the past. We were not happy about what took place there, but we're trying to turn this into a positive, and we've worked very hard to bring it to this point. And we're further ahead than any of the other campuses. Some of them aren't really planning anything, but we've showed that we're interested, and hopefully they'll see how much work we put into this and grant our wish of this campus, coming under the educational authority's auspices.
Commissioner Vince Faciti is joining us on the afternoon drive, talking about a number of different topics here. Commissioner, we had some trouble getting you on the line, but we appreciate your taking time to talk to us today. You always are willing to join in with us. Since we had a shorter interview, we'll make sure we schedule another one shortly so we can finish up the conversation. We have another guest coming up here shortly here. So we appreciate your taking time to join us. I'll be back in touch. We'll get you back on sometime in May, and we'll finish our conversation. With
Doug, I'll come on anytime you want. I think it's important that, I come on and reach out to the public and let them know what we're working on. And that's just one thing. There's dozens of things we're working on. Like you say, we change topics every half hour and working on different projects that we think will help the long-term development of Fayette County.
Yeah. Commissioner, thanks so much. We appreciate you joining us today. Commissioner Dunn will be on air with us tomorrow, and we're trying to schedule an interview coming up with Commissioner Kaufman as well. So we always like to check in with the commissioners. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take a quick break here. We come back. Keith Schmidt's going to join us. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS.
It's spring, and everything is growing, and Madewell Services is here to help. They offer full lawn care service, including spring cleanups, mulching, landscaping and planting, weekly grass cutting, power washing, and more. Madewell Services also provides professional cleaning services for your home or office, moving in or out service, party cleanups, weekly cleanings, and junk removal. Licensed and insured for peace of mind. Call Madewell Services today at 724-912-1805. That's 724-912-1805 for a free estimate.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
In 1986, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville was started with a promise to provide clients with truthful, friendly, and courteous service. It worked. With an expanded client base, the Firestone Insurance Agency's customers are now able to choose from over 20 well-known insurance companies. So whether it be auto, home, business, or life, Firestone has you covered, and the promise to provide truthful, friendly, and courteous service is still in place. As an independent insurance agency, the Firestone Insurance Agency works for you. They do the shopping for you to save you time and a bunch of needless phone calls. Because let's face it, no one loves to shop for insurance. Call the office at 724-455-3900 or visit firestoneinsurance.net. Can't make it to Normalville? Let the Firestone Insurance Agency bring service right to your kitchen table. The Firestone Insurance Agency, 724-455-3900 or firestoneinsurance.net. Doing what is right for the customer, finding the most affordable rates while making sure there are no coverage gaps so you are fully protected from the unforeseen.
When their world isn't safe, they need someone to notice, to wonder and worry, to be their voice. If you suspect child abuse in any way, report it. You can be their hero. Your call can change their world.
Report suspected abuse by calling 1-800-932-0313 or visit keepkidssafe.pa.gov for more information. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
That sounds like the boss bringing us out of the break there.
That would be.
Is that the boss? I thought that was the boss bringing us out of the break. I want to thank Commissioner Vince Vacides for joining us just a few moments ago on the afternoon drive show. The late edition, we start a little later tonight, high school baseball. Baseball's done for the year, high school baseball, but
softball?
Lowell Highlands are in the playoffs, right? The
Yeah,
Mustangs.
the softball, yeah.
Do they call them the Lady Mustangs? I don't want to be sexist. I don't know. They just call them the Mustangs. I better be careful what I say here. And when I went to high school, St. Elizabeth High School in Baldwin, they were the Lancers and the Lancerettes. How about that? You don't hear names like that anymore.
No, and probably for a good reason.
Yeah, they were Lady Lancers for a while. Then I think there was we're tired of being called Lady Lancers. Let's just call ourselves the Lancers. But yeah, Lancerettes was one of those classic names back in the day. I always like to show off and say that I graduated in the top 50 of my high school class. There were 68 students. Yeah, there were 68 students.
See that one coming up.
I graduated in the top 50. I always joke, in college, I was number 2 among all the English majors that graduated that year. There were 2.
Yeah.
That sounded better than the bottom 50%.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. Joining us right now on
but
the
you were at the medium.
Yeah, I was at the medium. That's right. Right down that meaty part of the curve. Yeah. That's right. That's where I was. Joining us right now on the WMBS talk line, our good friend, political analyst, president of Bridge Connections, expanding your reach through their relationships, Keith Schmidt. Keith, how are you? Good to talk to you.
I'm always well. I'm always excited to talk to you and your listeners. It's always a fun conversation. So thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, and I assume you're more impressed than ever with me now that you know I was in the top 50 of a 68 student class of 1981 at St. Elizabeth High School in Baldwin.
Your steady producer and myself both saw that coming, so we saw that where that was going.
The other day,
but when you're talking about the different names back in the day, boy, so much has changed in the last couple generations. You're showing your years, Doug.
That's for sure. The other day, I told somebody I had 12 happy years of marriage, and he looked at me and said, "How many years were you married?" I said, "Well, 22." But that's those are the jokes, of course. And I don't think I've said it publicly to you. Congratulations, you're engaged. I'm very happy for you. So,
yes, thank you so much. Thank you
congratulations.
so much.
Congratulations for that one. Well, we always like to check in with you every month or so. At one point, I went 2.5 months without talking to you, and I had to apologize on the air. I don't know how that happened. But wanted to talk to you what's going on, political in the world, of course. Tragically, another assassination attempt on the president's life. Bill and I, our producer, were talking earlier. Our lifetimes, Ford had a couple attempts, Squeaky Fromm, of course, the tragedy of Jack Kennedy. But I don't recall another president having 3 assassination attempts. There's threats all the time, that sort of thing. But this is
no.
I don't recall it being
No,
this bad.
No, not in our lifetime. Certainly, I'm not sure where the history of that is, but I think 3 might be a record. And unfortunately, it says something about the times we're living in and the type of tenor that exists on both sides of the aisle, and it can be dangerous at times. And it's a real shame. We can't start accepting that this is just normal behavior. We're at a situation where we're going to need to lower our voices and find a way to a new beginning of cooperation between these parties. We can disagree, but we don't need to do it in the format that has been showing its ugly face in recent years. And both of us are old veterans to the federal government. You certainly did your stint, and I did. We crossed over for probably over a decade, but it was so different then. And that was only for me. It was 20 years ago, and about the same for you probably. But literally, what has changed in the last generation is so dramatic that it's almost unrecognizable to the time in which we served as senior staff members in the United States Senate.
Yeah, I was doing an interview recently on a national program, and we were talking about those changes that you talked about. In 1976, Arlen Specter and John Hines ran against each other. Hard to believe that's 50 years ago now, in the primary for U.S. Senate. A bitter, bitter campaign.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't even have memories of it at this point. 4 years later, they recall these in the Senate. You, Scott, former U.S. Senator, got them together and said, listen, guys, you can either keep fighting or get along. And they did. They worked great together, Arlen Specter and these are 2 guys who ran against each other just 4 years earlier. So that idea of that changing, the comments that come from talk show hosts, whether it's radio or TV, you can't joke about someone dying. That's not funny.
Right.
And recently, somebody brought up they had postponed the Oscars one night following the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan, and they just showed how decent Johnny Carson was the very next night, saying, we postponed this ceremony one day. We couldn't possibly do this yesterday. And we're very pleased to report how well the president's doing following his emergency surgery, following the assassination attempt. I think if you were to say that now, and wherever the Oscars are being held, there'd be boos that the president.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that video of Johnny Carson. It's worth seeing.
Sure, I do recall that very vividly. I remember that, and it was a class act. And I think a lot of this could be laid at the feet of how we get our news nowadays, and what the influences are. Back in the day, we had a morning paper and an evening paper. We had a half hour of news around noon, and then you had the 6 o'clock news, and then you went to the national news for 30 minutes, and that was your news, and that's how you got your news. And pretty much, I remember looking at data when I was in college at Pitt. For 20 years between 1960 and 1980, 88% of the stories on the 3 big networks were identical. Only 12% differed for human interest and other stories. But the news was the news. We all agreed. Different people delivered it. Some people favored Brinkley. Some people favored Cronkite. But the news was the news. Now, the sensational got-you television, the entertainment television, the cable networks, social media, the way that we get our news, or what we actually call news, is often just opinion, and it has served to certainly divide us in the modern age, and the modern age, what I would be defined as the age that brought us the internet and social media, and how we claim to get information and disseminate information. it's dangerous, and it's proven that we're having a hard time handling it, and it's showing some real negative effects in the American culture.
Yeah, even Bill Maher has criticized modern media for its use of language, arguing, and I'm quoting him here, that outlets often prioritize manufactured buzzwords, emotional outrage, a vicious attack on a person. That's an opinion. Now, an attack is vicious, yes,
Right.
but using words like such as destroys or owns or annihilates, he commented, is not good journalism.
Right.
And I was watching local news the other day, and there's a tragic story about somebody dying, and the person reporting the news had a sad look on her face. Now, yes, somebody dying is a sad situation, but I'm not sure if the reporter, the anchor, Bill, you've been doing this longer, Albert, should they have a sad look on their face? Aren't they there just to report it instead of showing emotion? Now, that might sound awfully cold by me, but Bill, you've been in this business
Right.
for 30 years. What are your
There's
thoughts?
a fine line between sad and serious. You know, and so
Right.
you're supposed to have a serious look on your face, but to come on and say we have tragic news out of Ohio or whatever,
Right.
that's a leading lead.
Right. Or President Trump owns this issue. Like, that's an opinion. But is that tying?
Right.
I'm trying to think of examples of what you just said, Keith. Is that what you're thinking of?
Oh, sure. I mean, politics and media. It's like the WWF becoming the WWE. It became about entertainment. Okay, we're now the WWE. I mean, we've now had to admit that it's opinion and it's entertainment and it's about ratings and the old cliches of integrity and fact checking and beat reporters that go out and get the stories doesn't exist. I mean, when you think of the skeleton staffs on so many of these news organizations, the cameraman is often the reporter. There isn't any in-depth reporting. It's all sensationalism, and there's no longer 2,000-word articles in newspapers. Everything has to be done in 88 characters. It's all headline type news and got you mentality and just trying to, like I said, unfortunately, the emphasis is on entertaining more than educating, and it's a dangerous precedent and a dangerous road we're heading down for the American people.
Yeah. Talking with Keith Schmidt, political analyst, business consultant with BridgeConnections.com. Yeah, you think about that approach, and we've all heard the stories about Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill having a beer after hours. Nowadays, Tip O'Neill would probably be voted out of the speakership if he dared had a beer with Donald Trump. John Fetterman. Go ahead.
Good, Fetterman. Good about Fetterman. What were you going to say about Fetterman?
John Fetterman's despised among Democrats these days. In Pennsylvania, has a higher rating among Republicans, simply because he works on both sides of the aisle.
It seems to be his only path, and for re-election, if he chooses to go into re-election, you're going to see that he'll probably file as an independent, because I'm not sure that either party will embrace him enough to get the nomination. But he may have an outside chance if he only needed a third of the vote and ran as an independent. But I can't see him running as a Democrat, and the Republicans certainly wouldn't be nominating him. So I think if there's any second term for the senator, I think it's going to have to be an independent race for re-election. But that's yet to be seen. We'll see where all that goes. But what I was saying about divided government, everybody talks about reaching across the aisle and how we did so many bipartisan things. That oftentimes that bipartisanship often exists when one or the other party has large majorities in either chamber. When government is so equally divided, both in Pennsylvania, we see that in the House and Senate, a one-vote majority in the House in Pennsylvania, the Senate, a narrow majority for the Republicans nationally, and a very close, small majority in the House of Representatives. When there's small majorities, there's less bipartisanship. Then the whips are there to keep everybody in line, and you're punished for reaching across the aisle for any reason. And you'll see that any time when there's narrow majorities, it works against the whole premise of bipartisanship. And that's why I don't think you've seen that in Harrisburg or in Washington in recent years.
This idea of when you go across the aisle, and right now, the Pittsburgh region has of course, Summer Lee, very liberal. My gosh, she did a State of the Union address for was it the Workers' Party? What was that? Or a response?
Right.
I think there's 12 of them in the city of Pittsburgh, maybe members of that party. But if you're an extremist to the right or left, if you do anything that looks bipartisan, you'll probably get primaried in your next election.
No, sure.
And that's a shame. That's
Sure.
happening.
And unfortunately, in recent years, and we've all seen it, both parties are defined by their extremes. The progressives and the more liberal people in the Democratic Party, and the far right in the Republican Party, whether we like it or not, it seems the proverbial tail is wagging the dog, and it's troublesome. It's troublesome, and when you lead with the extremes from both sides, finding middle ground becomes increasingly difficult. And again, I spend most of my days with family, friends, neighbors, people that I spend my time with, trying to tell them that what I did was nothing like what you see today. Like, I would have never lasted 20 plus years in politics and government on a daily basis if this was the tenor of politics. It was a different age. It was only a generation ago, but it was a completely different place. And I long for those days, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, your former boss took heck if he, did something with Arlen Specter. Arlen Specter took heck if he did something with Rick Santorum, at times.
Right.
But nothing like it is today. Nothing.
Nothing.
Although I think
you're absolutely correct.
our two senators in Pennsylvania, they say they could be a model for something. That's a big step. But the fact that they work together, they're friends with each other, they've been in the same forums, even one up at Harvard, where they said, yeah, we disagree with each other, but I don't hate the guy. Like, somehow, if you don't hate the opposition, you're a bad politician. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, Doug. Really unfortunate.
I saw a yard sign just recently that said, write in Doug Mastriano for governor. The guy who had the biggest loss in history, I think, for a non-incumbent governor race. But that's because, I guess, Stacey Garrity's not far right enough. I don't know. Yeah,
wow.
It's a strange.
Yeah,
It's a strange situation.
Yeah, and then when at the times you don't reach across the aisle and you keep everything within your own party, then you have problems within your own party. Then there's arguments and dissension within your own ranks.
Right.
You have to be careful. There's a reason why you break bread and you find ways to move the ball forward for your constituents and for the good people of your state or for the country. And none of those things are happening right now. It is a dangerous time. I don't blame either party. I think it lies at the feet of both parties. But I think we have to start thinking about turning the page, because none of us can be very happy or content with the state of American politics in 2026.
Yeah, I was going back to what Bill Maher said about how the media says things, using words obliterates, roasts, annihilates, or the internet hates what Jennifer Aniston is doing. Like that's news. And he talked about he's listening to NPR and he's listening to people bash the rich on NPR right up to the point where they're asking for money from the rich for NPR. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Not that I'm some wholesome person, for heaven's sakes. Heaven knows I've got my issues, but I just don't understand this need to hate the opposite party all the time. Or I get criticized here. People know my background when I have Democrats on. Doug, what are you doing? You didn't bash them enough. I'm like, well, that's not my job. I interview people. I get their thoughts on things. Yeah, I could tear into somebody. I'll never get them back for another interview. I don't do puff pieces, but at the same time, you want to be able to get people's thoughts without insulting them.
Well, I always say Phil Donahue and who was the other one, Oprah. They all had their day, but Jerry Springer lasted the longest. He lasted 20 years after they left the air, because somehow people can't look away from the craziness, and somehow I think maybe they saw that as the formula. Sensational, exaggerated, headlines, you use hate speech, anything to get someone's attention. And it's unfortunate, because it's a disservice to their listeners, and they're masking themselves as actually trying to inform and give news. It isn't news. All that it is entertainment and opinion. And unfortunately, even the major networks are so skewed now that it's hard to find, something that you can take to the bank and rely. The days of the big three are over. I mean, Walter Cronkite, he was a pretty liberal guy, but quite frankly, when I look at the old newscasts, you really couldn't tell that during the news.
No.
I knew that in his later writings and interviews and the books he wrote. But during the time that he was at the anchor desk for almost 30 years in CBS, I didn't see that in his reporting. You know, he understood how to leave that at the door, and his job was to inform and give people the news. But these are different days, my friend, and you and I are going to have to yell from the hilltop and do our part to try to change it. You can't give up. We still are doing our part to kind of bring back the old days. If any time you wanted to turn back the clock, it would be healthy for America to take a look at what we did together 20 and 30 years ago, because there were some very good times for America and good times for Pennsylvania.
I didn't expect our conversation to go in this direction, but I think it's been a great conversation,
No, neither
as
did I.
always, with Keith Schmidt, and I enjoy our monthly conversations with you, and I'll never let a 2.5-month gap go again. Gee whiz, I took heck for that.
Well, thank you for always allowing me to join you and your listeners. It's always a pleasure, and look forward to our conversation sometime next month.
Yeah. Keith Schmidt, president of Bridge Connections. Check out the website, bridgeconnections.com. Have a good one, Keith. Thank you. Keith Schmidt joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Here we're going to take a break, wrap up hour number 2. We're with you till 9 o'clock tonight. Stick around.
Gus is back. He's all dressed up in a jacket and bow tie and ready to help you celebrate 20 exciting prizes of $100,000 on a new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery. Now, through the end of May, just be the 6th caller to 724-438-4593 when you hear.
How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
And you'll win 6 $5 Gus tickets. Scratch and win in style. It is the classy way to play.
Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States, located right here in Fayette County, is hiring. Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's included on the UNESCO World Heritage List, has a variety of opportunities for new team members, including openings in the Education Department, the Falling Water Cafe, the Membership Department, the Maintenance Department, the Museum Store, Security, and the Visitor Services Department. The team at Falling Water is growing, and now is your chance to be a part of history as a valued member of the team, sharing this remarkable creation with tens of thousands of visitors every year. With a mix of full-time and part-time positions and offering flexible scheduling, competitive compensation, and unique perk benefits, now is the time to visit www.fallingwater.org/careers. Check out these opportunities today and come be a part of history at Falling Water. For 35 years, Fay Penn Economic Development Council has been committed to its mission of growing Fayette County's economy and helping to bring jobs to the area. Whether you're a startup, existing, or new business in Fayette County, Fay Penn's lending team can work with you to decide if the Fay Penn Loan Fund suits your business's needs. Fay Penn's Loan Fund offers loans starting at $10,000, pending qualifications. Visit faypenn.org to learn more about financing opportunities for your business and to complete a pre-application form.
Now, I could sound really impressive and say, that's Stevie Wonder bringing us out of the break.
Well,
but
go ahead.
But I had to ask Bill Madden, our producer, who is this Stevie Wonder bringing us out of the break? Thanks, Keith Schmidt, for joining us. You know, we were talking about Bill
By
Maher.
the way, that song is appropriate because it's called Higher Ground.
You're right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's good. You know, I'm not a big fan of Bill Maher, but it was interesting how he talked about the media, breaking down the real problems with modern media. And he gave some headlines here. This one was from Forbes magazine. Beth Van Dern shreds bipartisan Senate border deal. Shred, that's a word? What, it's a nonpartisan word? How about Senator destroys Ted Cruz and jaw-dropping Twitter clapback? You know, that's out of Indy 100. And this one from Fox News. David Axelrod pummels Biden's defiant stance on economy. Those aren't unbiased comments. Those are opinions, right in a headline, no less. Again, not a big fan of Bill Maher at times, but he made some good points there. That's
Sometimes he is the sanest person in the room.
That's right. And when you think about what's happening late night TV, tomorrow we're going to have Rob Owen on. He's the TV writer and critic. with the Tribune Review, triblive.com. And just like what has
You
happened.
mean the last remaining newspaper? No,
Yeah. Well, I guess the new group took it over
yeah,
just
and
this
then they
week.
fired half the people.
Yeah, well, that's I guess better than firing all of them, I suppose. So we're going to have a representative of that newspaper on next week, the new owners of that nonprofit organization. I guess speaking of nonprofits, I guess I missed the fact that the AP is a nonprofit. When did that happen? How did I not know
It's
that?
always been a nonprofit.
Oh, that's
It's
so
been
funny.
owned by its members.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I just when I think I know what's going on. Bill Maher had another one here. U.S. on track for nearly 300% increase in measles cases. There were 35.
Yeah. Well, it's like Mark Twain said, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Right, yeah. I guess that was one region they said had a 300% increase. So interesting, always interesting to see that sort of an approach. CBS News coming up at 8 o'clock. I don't say that too often during the afternoon drive show.
No.
I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there producing the show. It's good to have him in studio with us. When we come back, we're going to talk to Matt Huff about Huffy's Heroes and then Bob Grove about the Pittsburgh Penguins. News is next.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump says on social media that he has paused the U.S. effort to guide vessels out of the Strait of Hormuz to finalize an Iran deal, but that the American forces' blockade of the Iranian ports would remain in place. Earlier today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke to reporters, including our Linda Kenyon, about Project Freedom.
The Secretary of State says Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is an illegal criminal act.
Someone needs to do something about it. Something needs to be done.
Rubio adds Iran is losing billions due to its own blockade of the strait, and it's wrecking its own economy.
They should check themselves before they wreck themselves in the direction that they're going.
Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
3 people are dead, 4 more are ill, and nearly 150 others are stranded aboard a cruise ship where they will stay until investigators can clear them to leave. CBS's Tom Hansen.
Health officials believe the passengers were infected off the ship, which made several stops on islands up the South American coast. Symptoms can take up to a month to show up. The Andes strain of hantavirus can spread from person to person and is only found in regions of South America. The Dutch cruise liner left Argentina on April 1st and has been moored off the West African island of Cape Verde since Sunday.
After federal agents in Minneapolis fatally shot ICU nurse and American citizen Alex Preddy, Tom Homan was sent by President Trump to de-escalate tensions in Minnesota. CBS News' Camilo Montoya Galvez sat down with Homan, who says that the Trump administration is not backing down on mass deportations.
We're still going to enforce law in Minneapolis and Minnesota, but now we're in a better position. We're in a better position. We're safer for the agents, safer for the aliens. Now, the reason you haven't seen a lot of the videos out there because ICE is doing the mission. They're doing the way they should be doing it. Target enforcement operation.
Pope Leo says talking is better after President Trump repeats criticism about the pontiff. The president saying in an interview that the Pope believes it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Pope Leo says talking about war is now a complex problem.
I always believe that it's much better to enter into dialogue than to look for arms and to support the arms industry, which gains billions and billions of dollars each year.
Apple is exploring having its semiconductors made in the U.S. CBS's Jason Brooks reports.
Intel shares soared higher after Bloomberg reported that Apple is interested in partnering with a chip maker on having Apple's custom chips made in the U.S., with Apple also considering South Korea's Samsung as a U.S. chip partner. Taiwan Semiconductor has been making Apple's custom chips for iPhones, iPads, and Macs over the past decade, but Apple is looking to diversify its supply chain.
This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world. I'm Tony. There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers. How are you? I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
A couple of NBA enthusiasts had to choose between a high-profile party and a playoff game.
What's a Knick fan to do when the Met Gala's uptown and your team is up against the Sixers in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals?
Per usual, stars are out. Timothy Chalamet here instead of the Met Gala.
The actor sat it out front row at Madison Square Garden as his girlfriend, Kylie Jenner, paraded up the stairs to the big party at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. But Ben Stiller skipped the game for the gala. He and his wife, actress Christine Taylor, dressed in blue and orange, and watched the Knicks rout Philly 137-98 on a cell phone. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News, New York.
2 hikers are injured in a bear attack on a popular hiking trail near Yellowstone National Park's Old Faithful Geyser. Park officials described the attack as a single event and that 1 or more bears were involved, but did not specify if they were black bears or grizzlies. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
This is your local station, WMBS. This Weather Watch is being brought to you by Maloney's Restaurant, Main Street, Uniontown. Maloney's Restaurant, serving authentic Italian cuisine in Uniontown since 1950. Call 724-437-2061 for weekly specials and to place your order. Overnight low is 58. Cloudy on Wednesday with rain early, the high 60. Cloudy skies Wednesday night, the low 45. Mostly cloudy on Thursday, 57. Partly cloudy, 65 for Friday. Showers early Saturday, the high 69. Partly cloudy on Sunday, afternoon showers for Mother's Day, a high of 75. This Weather Watch has been brought to you by Maloney's Restaurant. Let Maloney's cater your special occasion. Choose from their banquet menu and ask about their popular banquet room to make your next event special. Call 724-437-2061. This is your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
Derby's Riverside Ford is announcing Ford employee pricing for all. American value for American values. That's right, you pay what Ford employees pay, plus all available incentives and low financing. This is your time to purchase or lease a new Ford vehicle.
Now get a new 2025 Ford F-150 XLT Crew Cab 4x4. MSRP is $63,000. Your employee price is just $55,000 plus 2.9 financing through Ford Motor Credit. How about a new 2025 Ford Bronco Sport? Employee price is just $34,000 plus 2.9 Ford Credit financing.
And my favorite, the all-new 2026 Ford Explorer all-wheel drive. MSRP is $45,000, but your employee price is just $41,000. Ford employee pricing for everyone. Now at Thurby's Riverside Ford, your presidential One Ford Elite dealer. Route 40, 1 mile past the casino at Nemacolin. See Sammy, Jimmy, Ashley, or Joey. Offer ends May 31st.
Spring is here and the weather is turning warmer. Spring is also a time when Chesler's Fine Furniture in Uniontown clears their floor of discontinued items to make room for new stock soon to arrive. There are sale items in every department. Table lamps priced from $35 to $129. Lazy Boy rocker recliners starting at $429 in fabric and just $799 in leather. Upholstered power rocker recliners in 3 colors for $659. For the living room, there's a 76-inch sofa in gray at $499 and matching love seats and chairs at sale prices. If you need storage for those seasonal clothes, Chesler's has 5-drawer chests starting at $329 and up. For the kitchen area, 5-piece dining sets start at only $599. This is just a sampling of items on sale, and Chesler's has delivery and credit terms to fit your budget. Chesler's Fine Furniture, Route 51 in Uniontown, where customers send their friends.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts. thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest. Now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
It's hour 3 of the afternoon drive show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there at the controls, producing the show. And thank Bill for being with us tonight. It's good to have him in studio. I'm showing 66 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Looking for a low tonight, a 47 chance of rain tomorrow. And in fact, that rain's probably going to start right during morning rush hour. So what better time to have a lot of rain than during the morning rush hour? I want to thank Brian Morozak for suggesting our next guest and joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, the founder of Huffy's Heroes, Matt Huff. Matt, thank you very much for joining us today. It's good to have you on. You've not been on our show before. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Doug. I appreciate it, and getting the opportunity to come on and speak about, CHD and organ donation.
Yeah, you sent me some information the other day about the group that you founded, and from what I can tell here, you're a pretty tough guy based on the experience you've had. 27 years old, you work at Armstrong, born with a congenital heart defect called hypoplastic left heart syndrome. That's a new one for me. I had not heard of that one. And at 16 years old, you went into heart failure. Not too many. That doesn't happen to too many 16-year-olds. That must have been a tough experience, obviously.
Yeah. So, like you said, the congenital heart defect I was born with, basically the left side of my heart was underdeveloped. So basically, it just wasn't developed at all. And I had 3 open heart surgeries to repair that issue. And I'd say from the age of 5 until 16, I lived a pretty normal life. And then, it took us about a year to figure out I was in heart failure. And there was a medicine called Milrinone that they call it the miracle drug. And they used that, and that's kind of how they found out I was in heart failure. And I was on the list. So for the first time getting a transplant, I waited a year and 3 months in and out of the hospital. And then on September 14th of 2017, I finally got that heart transplant. And then this time it's been 8.5 years, and I developed a disease called CAV. It's cardiac allograft vasculopathy. So basically, you develop it in your 5 to 10 year mark. And now not everybody develops this. It's kind of rare. And unfortunately, I developed it, and basically the coronary arteries deep inside the heart just start to narrow and close, and it just kind of goes from there and turns into heart failure.
Let's talk about the organization that you founded, Huffy's Heroes. It's a 501c3, correct, nonprofit group, and it's dedicated, I understand, to supporting families in cardiac units. And is it specifically a children's hospital?
Yeah, correct. Yes, we are a registered 501c3, and it's dedicated to the cardiac unit and the CICU at Children's Hospital Pittsburgh. So, what our mission and goal is to help families and, children in the hospital. I mean, they could be waiting on a heart transplant. They could just be there for, a heart issue. And if they're not able to afford gas or food, parking, just clothes, anything the child, like a certain toy, that's where we come in, and try and do our best to help these families. Because I mean, I lived it firsthand, and so did my family traveling back and forth. And we've seen some families there who just doesn't have enough, and that's where we're coming in. And the hospital was there for me for everything, and I got the opportunity to create this organization, and I thought, why not give back? I'm still doing it, sitting in the hospital right now, raising money and advocating for CHD and organ donation.
So you're in the hospital right now. You are a patient.
Yeah, down at Presby in Pittsburgh. Yesterday was 3 weeks I've been here.
Okay.
And
it's a fascinating organization, and people don't think, you have health care coverage, but you don't think of what it costs to drive from this region into the city, or the gas includes, or just simple things like food and clothing. It's not cheap to always be able to go visit your family members.
No, I know, fortunately, we don't live too far from, Children's or Presby. It takes us about 40 minutes to an hour to get down here, but you got to think there's families that come all over the country, even the world, to these hospitals, and they might not have, enough funds, and their insurance might cover some medical bills, but that's like what we're here for, to help them, handle their finances and stuff, so they don't have to worry about all this. And it's bad enough a family or a child's going through this situation already. If we can take a load off of them, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, when you take a look at how lucky we are in this region to have Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, obviously it's available to people all over this region, and they are part of UPMC. But your organization specifically helps the cardiac units there, 7A and CICU, which I'm guessing is Cardiac Intensive Care Unit. Is that what CICU
Correct.
is?
Yeah.
And it's great. Children's Hospital has always been one of those things that everybody from southwestern Pennsylvania knows about Children's Hospital, and of course it's not a new facility anymore, they're at the old St. Francis Hospital, and you look at that building, it's like Disney opened a hospital. It's a nice place to go to.
I'll be honest, it's the new hospital that's been down in Lawrenceville for the last couple years now is so much different from when it was in Oakland. It was built towards kids. Nobody wants to go to a hospital, especially a little kid, but they make it fun for them while they're staying in there, and that's what they need, get their mind off of all this medical stuff and what they're going through. So, we're just trying to add to that.
Yeah, I guess I should give a shout out. One of my high school classmates, Diane Hupp, who was Diane Shamming, we grew up in the same neighborhood, about 3 blocks apart, is president of UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. She's held that position now for the last 3 years. And her commitment, over 36 years of experience at Children's, and she began there. She began her career there as a volunteer. Not bad to move up through. And
right.
First, she was chief nursing officer, vice president of operations, and now she. It's funny to think about one of my childhood friends who I used to run around the playground with. It's president of Children's Hospital.
Yeah, that's not a bad gig, right
not
there.
Not a bad gig. That's right. And perhaps you had a chance to meet her at some point. I don't know, but yeah.
No, not yet, but never say never. So,
so we are talking with Matt Huff, the founder of Huffy's Heroes. If folks want to, I don't know if you look for volunteers or if obviously people can make contributions. I'm sure you're on social media. How can folks find you?
So we're on Facebook under Huffy's Heroes, same as Instagram Huffy's Heroes, TikTok Huffy's Heroes. If you'd like to make a donation, we have a P.O. box. You can send check or money order if you'd like. It's P.O. Box 16, Connellsville, PA 15425. It's greatly appreciated. all the funds we get, 100% goes right to the family and kids. Like whatever they need, and we're working on some things right now. Right now I'm sitting in the hospital. I'm still working on it. So I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep advocating and just bringing awareness to this situation because I've been dealing with it my entire life. So
I'm not sure if I've ever interviewed somebody from a hospital bed. So we'll have to put this one in there too. And the fact that you're willing to do this while you're in the hospital is
well, I appreciate you.
Pretty darn impressive.
Let me come on here. So.
And again, your social media sites. I guess is it best just to simply Google Huffy's HUFFY''S Heroes? That's probably the best way to find your social media sites.
If you just go on Facebook, Instagram, and you type that in, we'll pop right up there. It has our logo. It looks like a little superhero coming out of like the old comic book style, like emblem and stuff. So you can't miss that. It's bright red and blue.
Yeah, I know your organization doesn't have a website, but that would be a good something that somebody could contribute to provide money for you to create a website, I suppose, if you're interested in doing that. I don't know if you are interested.
Oh yeah, no, we're any help we can get. I'm working on it myself. Where it's just two people right now, me and another board member. So we're doing our best to just bring awareness to the whole CHD community and just do what we can to help.
Again, Google Huffy's Heroes, HUFFY''S, just like it sounds, Heroes. It's such a great organization. And when you think about the work you're doing there to provide assistance to families with children in cardiac units, including expenses, and you don't think of those expenses sometimes, parking, gas, food, clothing, toys. And of course, the work you do there with the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, especially, and you have members that include social workers from the CICU. Is that correct?
Yeah. So my old social worker at Children's, his name's Jonathan Rabatin. He's actually one of my board members, and it's nice to have somebody that deals and works with this every day. He's able to see what the families go through and help determine us, who, it's not that we want to pick and choose, but if we can help a family that doesn't have enough, we'd like to help them. And that's, like I said before, that's what it's about. So.
Well, that's terrific. I think the work you're doing here and the fact that here, and I've said it a couple of times now, that you're doing this interview from a hospital bed, pretty darn impressive. Maybe one of your nurses walked in and said, "Are you really doing a radio interview right now?"
No, I put my my podcast sign up and put on the radio. Please don't come in right now.
Well, that'd be okay if a nurse walked in and said, "Time for something."
No, I gotta take the medicine if they bring it in.
That's right. We don't want to hold you up from that one. Hey, Matt, congratulations on the great work. Obviously, thoughts and prayers are with you as you continue.
Thank you.
And it's so important to bring an example of the need for donors and have that note on your driver's license that you're a donor and no reason not to. You don't need those after you're not with us anymore. When a person's gone, they don't need those organs. Even my dad, I think it's somebody like my dad who had a lot of serious illnesses, cancers and other things. After he died, he was able to donate tissue.
Oh yeah.
And there's more than just hearts, lungs, and livers, and you think about that sort of thing.
Oh yeah. An organ donor can they can save up to 8 lives, and being a tissue donor, you can save 75 and up lives. I'm actually an organ donor myself. I can't donate my heart, but I can donate everything else. So. It only takes like 30 seconds to sign up to be an organ donor.
We were talking earlier about the crazy conspiracies and the thought that a doctor is going to let you die so that he can harvest an organ is nonsense. I hate when I hear people say they're not going to sign up as an organ donor for that. But we're talking kidneys and lungs, liver, heart, pancreas, intestines, tissue, as you said. Heck, you can be a living donor. I signed up to be. My cousin needed a kidney, and I signed up, and I was tested and approved, and then he ended up getting the liver from somebody else. So it's amazing what you can do. Donatable parts. You don't think of stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Corneas, you name it.
Yeah.
That can all be part of that. So, Matt, we'd like to have you back on again sometime. Best of luck
Well, I
to you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good evening. All
Hey, you too.
Thank you very much. You know, there's a national Donate Life registry, and registerme.org, just like it sounds, registerme.org. It's part of the that organization. Folks have heard about that, of course. It's just so important. I don't understand why anybody would object to being an organ donor. I'm pretty sure, Bill, that when my time comes, I'm not going to need my heart anymore.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think I'll need anything anymore. My dad at one point wanted to donate his entire body to science, but something like that changed. But he did donate tissue, and he was a very sick man when he died.
By the way, if you go to the the Huffy's Heroes Facebook page, there's merchandise there, and there's also links to his podcast.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Hanging with Huffy.
There we go.
Which is being done, by the way, from his
hospital bed.
room.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So, yes, he's got those ubiquitous wrist identifications.
Oh, yeah, you've got to wear those in the hospital. I still have ones I wore. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks when I was a kid. 12 days in Homestead Hospital, which no longer exists. The building's still there. They use for other purposes. But that was back in the days. I had severe stomach pain, so I was in the hospital. Imagine nowadays going with severe stomach pains, being in the hospital for 12 days. And I remember the hospital in Homestead just literally practically looked over at the Homestead Works. And back in those days, this was in the early 70s, there was no air conditioning in the hospital. The windows were open. And Homestead Mill was cranking. We were just about to leave for the Jersey Shore. And for 12 of those 14 days, we were supposed to be at the beach. I was in the hospital. My brother still brings that up with me once in a while, that I ruined our vacation to the Jersey Shore. But when you think,
I imagine that for you it was ruined.
Yeah, me too, yeah. It was, I was in a ward. I can remember, I was about 8 years old, 12 kids in a ward. But then they thought I had some sort of something that was contagious. So they put me in a private room, which was unheard of back in those days, to anybody to have a private room, an adult or a child.
Well, like if your name was Rockefeller.
Maybe then, yes. I was a Saltzman, still am. But yeah, we had, and I remember my mom taking the sheets home to wash them because they thought maybe the detergent they were using at the hospital was causing this problem with my skin. It was a strange. There were no call buttons. You just yelled nurse.
Yeah.
My parents brought a fan in to cool off the room. And I do recall I was there over the 4th of July, and right next door was a park, and they were shooting off fireworks. The building was shaking. I remember my dad saying, it's funny what you can remember as a kid. My dad said, I hope there aren't any heart patients here having trouble. As fireworks, I could look out my window, and they literally were 100 yards away where they were shooting them off. I guess they warned the heart patients, get ready.
Yeah, well, these days it would probably be gunfire, but that's
well, that's a whole nother, other thing.
Another story altogether.
Altogether, that's for sure.
Yeah, anybody that pines for the old days, like back in the 50s and 60s, people died of like 50 from the croup.
Oh, yeah. Even
advances.
You think back to the days of war, Revolutionary War. More people died in camp from simple infections than on the battlefield.
Or from pneumonia.
Oh, exactly. When you think about some of the good old days at times weren't all that great, frankly.
No, especially because, again, speaking from my perspective, back in the 50s or 60s, you got a cancer diagnosis.
Right.
Cancel Christmas. It's over.
That's why people didn't even like saying the word.
Right, the C word.
The C word. Yeah, my grandmother used to call it the cancer, and I've told stories here that she would not let. I grew up in the same house with my mother's parents, with my mom and dad, and my brother, and my grandmother would not let us get Nana. I called her. Would not let us get a color TV because it was going to give us the cancer.
Oh.
And they finally convinced her it wasn't going to, so they negotiated it. I had to sit at least 6 feet. Of course, kids always sit on the carpet watching TV. I had to be 6 feet from the TV, and my dad put a piece of masking tape on the carpet in front of the TV. I couldn't sit any
Well,
closer.
now, they said that for black and white or color because
Oh,
it
really?
would ruin your eyes.
Oh, yeah. Black and white. We had the small black and white TV in our kitchen. I was saying a couple weeks ago, we were talking to Steve Blass. That's where I watched Hank Aaron get the new home run record on a black and white TV.
715?
750, I think. Yeah, that's right. He ended up hitting 740, I think, was
Yeah.
his final. And then somebody else came along who has the asterisk record.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, of course.
Well, there's not an official asterisk there, but
No, but everybody
like
else.
they did with Roger Maris.
Right. Yeah. What?
Well, because Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs in 154 game
right,
season, then Ford Frick, the commissioner at the time, decreed that he had to get it in 154 games to break the record. And so when he got it in 162, they did actually put an asterisk.
Oh, did they really? Well, I always remember, too, but back in the day, at least early in his career, home runs that bounced over the fence were home runs.
Yeah.
Back in the early days of Babe Ruth.
Well, and also back in the days, you had, like center field was, the fence was 500 feet away.
Yeah. At Forbes Field in Oakland, they would push the batter's cage up against the home run wall in center field.
Oh, yeah, it was in play.
And nobody could hit it that far. Or
Yeah.
if they could, somebody could catch it in time or catch the ground ball heading out that way.
And the only way you got a home run was inside the park because you would hit it all the way to the wall.
When you think about a field like that they could put, the Steelers played there, some of their games there, some at Pitt Stadium, they could put a football field down the middle of the down the middle of the home run. And so that was same was up in Cleveland, Municipal Stadium up there. It was the same massive place.
Well, that was one of the first multi-use stadiums.
Right, that was absolutely massive. We're about 20 seconds away from the CBS News CBS News update, at 8:31. When we come back, we're going to do a post-mortem on the Penguin season and playoffs.
Good choice of words.
Bob Grove will be joining Bill and I. I'm Doug, by the way, Doug Saltzman. Bill Madden at the controls. Let's hit that CBS News brief at 8:31. Thanks for listening, folks.
CBS News brief. CBS News projects that Sherrod Brown has won the U.S. Senate Democratic special primary in Ohio and will face U.S. incumbent Senator John Husted. CBS News also projects that Vivek Ramaswamy will win the Republican primary for Ohio governor, setting up a general election matchup with Democrat Amy Acton. This morning, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said of Project Freedom,
2 U.S. commercial ships, along with American destroyers, have already safely transited the strait, showing the lane is clear.
But President Trump says online that he has paused the effort to guide vessels out of the Strait of Hormuz to finalize an Iran deal. Spain says the cruise ship where 3 people died and 4 others are ill will soon arrive in the Canary Islands. CBS's Tom Hansen.
This cruise liner offered passengers a chance to stop at remote, untouched locations, regions where hantavirus is also common in the wildlife. And now the World Health Organization tells CBS News the infections could have possibly started during one of those nature excursions.
CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
Gus is back. He's all dressed up in a jacket and bow tie and ready to help you celebrate 20 exciting prizes of $100,000 on a new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery. Now, through the end of May, just be the 6th caller to 724-438-4593 when you hear.
How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
And you'll win 6 $5 Gus tickets. Scratch and win in style. It is the classy way to play.
Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. Voted best in Fayette for auto service and tires, Tireman's Auto Garage is your go-to spot for the best tires at the lowest prices. On a budget? They've got you covered with quality used tires starting at just $25 each, including mounting and balancing, all with deep tread you can trust. Whether you need new or used tires, you'll always get the best service at the best price. Tireman's Auto Garage also offers financing options through ACEMA and Snap Leasing, making it easier than ever to get back on the road. Tireman's expert technicians handle it all: diagnostics, alignments, oil changes, state inspections, batteries, brakes, rotors, and more. Have you driven by Tireman's lately? Check out their golf carts, available in 2, 4, and 6-seaters, gas or electric, with a SEMA leasing available. Ask Joe and Kim about rentals, too. Tireman's Auto Garage on Mill Street, your one-stop shop for tires, services, and more. Call 724-425-9606. If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
It's the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show. I guess at some point, how long can you call it the Afternoon Drive Show at 8:35?
Well, it's afternoon somewhere.
You're right. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, exactly. 65 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there producing the show on the controls, joining us for the 3-hour extravaganza. Get ready for this. I haven't been on in a couple of weeks because we've been preempted by sports. But tomorrow, 4 hours. Good heavens, people will be sick of hearing from me if I have any voice left after 7 hours of shows in 2 days. Although, listen to me, I'm doing radio for heaven's sakes. I'm not, jumping out of airplanes into war zones.
Yeah, you're not lifting bricks onto a truck.
Exactly.
You know?
I was very young at the time, in my early to mid 20s. My dad said, "How's the new job going?" I said, "Oh, Dad, man, I was so busy today, I didn't have time for lunch." And he gave me kind of a disgusted look. He said, "Really?" He said, "I was in Korea. They were shooting at us. I found time for lunch." I never said that to my dad again. I figured that was it. And, Dad looked at me like, shut up, kid.
As dads do.
As dads do, yeah. Very honest, straightforward, to the point. That was my dad. Wasn't a man of many words. Joining us right now, and when we set up this interview, the goal, of course, we wanted to talk about the second round of the playoffs with the Penguins' involvement. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But they certainly went a lot further this year than I think most folks thought they would. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, Penguins and NHL analyst and historian Bob Grove. An unexpected season for the Pens, and they almost pulled it off in the playoffs. Were you shocked by how the Pens did this season? That's kind of a weird question to start with, but I think a lot of people were.
Yeah, Doug, it's great to be on with you as always. And, I think everybody was surprised, really. If you think about what we all figured and what even people around the league figured the Penguins were capable of before the season started, it was being a potential lottery team, not being a playoff team. So, everything turned out roses for Kyle Dubas and Dan Muse, the new coach. Dubas's acquisitions all did well. Mantha, signed to a 1-year contract, leads the team in goals. He trades for Chinikov, and he was lighting it up after he got here. Got rid of Jari's contract. There's so many things. Drafted Ben Kindle, and he makes the team and plays the whole season and showed a lot of promise. So there's a lot went right for them, and the season was beyond anybody's expectations for sure.
Yeah. They had some odd times throughout the season of winning streaks and losing streaks. But yeah, nobody thought they'd get where they were. And we'll talk about the season in reverse, talk about the playoffs being down 3-0. It's easy to say, and you've forgotten more about this stuff than I'll ever know, but it just seemed if they would have won that game 6, would they have lost in Pittsburgh? And we would have been, the 5th out of 205 teams to come back from a 3-0 deficit or 0-3 deficit, however you want to say it. But they talked about the age of the Penguins. They were playing like teenagers out there at times. They were booking around that net.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would have liked the Penguins' chances in Game 7 if they'd have won Game 6, but, they haven't really been a great road team, a great home team all season, to be honest with you. And look no further than, they have home ice for the first 2 games of the series against the Flyers, and they lose both games. That's where the series was decided. I mean, the series was basically over at that point for me. I mean, if you have home ice and you lose the first 2 games, I mean, hardly anybody ever recovers from that, and this Penguins team wasn't going to recover from that. So, there's that part of it. But yeah, I mean, they got better as the series went on, but at the end of the day, they got shut out in 2 of the 6 games, and so they just couldn't find a way to score. They were the better team in Game 6, really from the start of the game till the end of the game. They forced the action, they controlled the action, they did everything, but they couldn't get the puck behind Vladar. And that's the name of the game, And Shilov's played great, but he left one in, but he never saw, and that's hockey.
Yeah, it was one of those goals. Like I turned away for half a second, I think, to pick up my beer, and the game was over. I'm like, what happened? It was one of those, one of those crazy goals. But yeah, the goalie play in that final game. Let me ask. We were talking about this, me and some buddies over a couple of beers. Actually, at a Pirate game, we were talking about it. When a game goes that long, I mean, it's tiring for everybody, but is it less tiring for a goalie because he's not skating up and down the ice? So are goalies stronger as it goes into overtime, especially these 20-minute overtimes in the playoffs? This is not a 5-minute overtime with a shootout. So do the goalies actually, are they less stressed? Are they less tired than the rest of the teams?
Yeah, it's a different kind of stress, I would say. That'd be my thing is, they're not skating as much as other guys are, for sure. And, the Penguins weren't giving, like I said, they were controlling play and weren't giving up many chances. But I think the mental stress of being a goaltender probably goes beyond anything the regular skaters see. Because, if you have the puck and you make a turnover at the opposing blue line, there's time, it's a bad mistake, but there's time for your teammates and yourself to try and recover and fix it. If you're a goaltender and you make a mistake, the game's over. So I just think mentally it's a little different for goaltenders as the game drags on like that. I don't know. I remember talking to Matt Murray about that, and he said, because I was talking to him about the double overtime game in 2017 when the Penguins beat Ottawa on the Chris Kunitz goal to go to the final. And he said, you just can't even, you don't even think about it. You're just looking at the play. It's in front of you right now, and you can't stop to try and put it all into perspective and say, think about what each goal means and everything. You just play the game that's in front of you, try to step the next shot, and that's all you think about.
Yeah, when you imagine what was going through the head of the Flyers goalie, first off, after he got out of position and gave up a goal that he couldn't defend because he wasn't in goal, and that goofy one where it took it defied physics to bounce off the end boards, and then he stuck his leg out for some reason and put it in his own goal. Imagine what was going through his head. Think, good grief, if we end up losing this series and these goals I gave up, they always say it's the loneliest position. You're sitting back and just waiting to make a mistake, I guess, or worried about making a mistake.
Yeah, and the credit to Vladar because he recovered. The goal he gave up was a bad mistake he made behind the net to Raquel. And then the Letang goal was just bad luck. I mean, I've seen goals go in like that. A goalie it's bouncing off the backboards and goes in off of them. It happens. But you wondered about, how was he going to deal with it? Even the bad luck, it's not really your fault. One was his fault. One was not really his fault. But look, he pitched a shutout in Game 6, and even though they lost the first 2 games to Carolina, he was pretty good, especially in the second game.
Yeah, it's and so going now. We're analyzing the season backwards. When you go back to the beginning of the season, and this whole year, people saying, what's next for Malkin? I think that was mentioned at the very beginning of the season. Like, will Malkin be here for the rest of the season? Will they trade him mid-season if things go south? Crosby, of course, has 1 year left on his contract, and he's publicly said he'd like Malkin to return next season. Is that just being a good teammate, or is it's not unprecedented for a captain to say something like that, but sometimes they stay out of that contract talk, don't they?
They do at times, but I mean, in today's NHL, I think captains are pretty tightly involved in a lot of things that are going on with every team, to be honest with you. And Sid's never been one to put himself in the middle of those kind of things, but I mean, no one was surprised. I mean, he said this before, to hear him say he wants to see Evgeny Malkin come back. I mean, he wants to play another season with Letang and Malkin, and just like Letang wants to stay and Malkin wants to stay, Sid wants them to stay. It is what it is. He's not going to make the decision, and the Penguins know how he feels. So I wasn't surprised at all to hear him say that. And, Malkin's status, as you said, was a question from the beginning of the season. Look, the bottom line is the Penguins could have offered Malkin a contract extension beginning last summer. They still haven't done it.
Right.
So that, to me, says a lot. Now, he turns 40 in July, and as Kyle Dubas rebuilds the Penguins, offering contracts to 40-year-old players sort of goes against everything he's doing. Now, Malkin's just not another player. He's an icon in the franchise. And he's coming off a good year. He averaged over a point per season at 39 years old. And he didn't play well at the end of the series against Philly, but he was one of their better players for the first few games. And yes, he missed some time with injuries and also with a suspension. So I truly don't know where Dubas is landing on this. I don't think anybody really knows. It's not a question of money. Gino made, if you look back at this past year, he was paid $6 million. He's not going to make $6 million next year. And he knows that, and he doesn't expect that. I mean, money won't be a question. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He said at the end of the year after the Philly series, he wants to play one more year in Pittsburgh. He also said, really for the first time, though, that if the Penguins don't sign him, he wants to play one more year in the NHL. So he'll play somewhere else. He had never really said that before. So, we know where everybody stands right now. Gino's going to play another year. He's not in it for the money. He's not going to get a bunch of money, and he wants to be here. Do the Penguins want him? Can they live with him as a winger for a full season? He played most of this season on wing after starting the season at center. And like I said, point-a-game guy at 39. You just don't find those guys around very much. So it'll be an interesting discussion for Dubas and Malkin as they try to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, Crosby doesn't seem the type to say, bring him back or I'm not playing. He doesn't seem to be that type of a player.
Well, he's got a contract, so he's not going to – he can't not play. But, no, he's not. He's not that player. He's not the guy who tries to say, this is the way it's going to be, I'm going to make the decision. He would never do that. What he would tell reporters is what he always says in this situation, which is true, which is the team knows how I feel. And the team knows he wants him to come back. So, we'll see. I mean, I think we're all sitting around, thinking about this and waiting for that decision.
Yeah. I'm sure you bump into people in grocery stores and wherever you happen to be, Bob Grove, and people say, why does it funny Malkin take so many bad penalties? I mean, that's just a classic Penguin Penguin fan lame thing to comment, and I'm much of a lame fan as there is, I suppose. But does he take bad penalties? Does he take stupid penalties, or is that just a Malkin thing and people talk about it?
Well, he absolutely does. But Doug, he always has been like that. And my response to people who say that is it's a legitimate question. But I would say to them that, look, Evgeny Malkin, every hockey player will tell you it's an emotional game, and players are emotional on the ice. And I think that's true to some degree. But for me, I'll be honest with you, I don't really recall seeing a player with the Penguins ever who played more with his heart on his sleeve than Malkin. He's very emotional, much more emotional, in my view, than a normal player. And that emotion causes him to get suspended as he did this year. It causes him to take bad penalties because he gets mad and frustrated. But I would say this, it also causes him to be the great player that he is. He's a future Hall of Famer. I mean, there have been games where he's taken over and he's accomplished things because he's motivated and he's emotional in a positive way. So you take the good with the bad.
Michelle Theron, Dan Balsamo, Mike Johnston, Mike Sullivan, Dan Muse. He's played under all of them. None of them have been able to get him to quit taking bad penalties. I guess it's I guess it's more than that. Under 8 different permanent head coaches. Could there be that many? He's played under 8 coaches.
He's played for 20 years.
Well, yeah, I mean,
none of them have been able to convince him to stop doing it. So I guess it's just.
Well, you can't talk him into it, is what I'm saying.
Right.
He is what he is. He's the player that he is. This is part of his game. It's way too late in the game to think he's ever going to change, and he's not going to change. So you just have to live with it. And he has to try and live with it. And, you know, especially it's the stick foul. Like the suspension this year was really bad. Like that's crossing a line. Like that's an emotional line you can't cross, and he should know better than that. But that's him. I mean, so you just have to accept that's part of the player that Evgeny Malkin is. It's a complex package. But, you know, the guy's won 3 Stanley Cups, like I said, future Hall of Famer, tremendous, tremendous talent, one of the icons of the franchise.
It gets cold in the winter. It rains in the spring. Some things we just have to accept. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to ask that question, because you hear that so often. It's like people say, oh, the Steelers will be out after one loss in the playoffs. You know, it's one of those things people say. But in this case, I guess it's, as you mentioned, Bob, based on his emotions. So what if you were to analyze this, and if you were to make a prediction, will he be wearing a Penguin jersey next year?
You know, a big part of me says no. I just think Dubas is rebuilding a team, and you know, bringing back a 40-year-old just doesn't fit the plan. But again, you, in the back of your mind, you know, like I said, this is not just any other player. He's one of the greatest players ever to play for the team, and he's coming off a good season. So that, you know, that's what makes it so uncertain. And the other piece that we really haven't discussed is, you know, a lot of it depends, Doug, on what happens with Dubas this summer. Who's leaving? Who's staying? Who's he trading for? Are there any free agents he's going to sign? That kind of thing. Because one of the things about bringing a 40-year-old into a rebuild, back into a rebuild, is the question, is he taking ice time away from a younger player who's going to serve you down the road? And do you feel that, like, you can't let that happen? That's a question that only Dubas can answer. And I think in forming the answer, you have to understand, where does Malkin fit? Again, he's going to play the wing if he stays. So who's he taking time away from? Is there a player that could produce like Malkin, and that you'd be robbing of ice time at a critical point in their young career? And so only Dubas knows the answer to that, because that's not only his evaluation of the players he already has, but the evaluation of players he might be out in the market and he's going to acquire. So I don't know. The short answer for me is I don't know. I really think this is a very, very difficult call, and I could see it going either way.
Bill, do you have a quick question?
Yeah, I had a quick question.
No, not a quick question. A question, I'm sorry.
One of the big stories was the turnaround of Carlson. Is it because he just fits into Muse's system better than Sullivan's, or did he have a come-to-Jesus moment?
No, I think it's, you know what, Bill, I think it's absolutely he fits under Muse's system, and here's what my sense of it is that when I think about the way that Sullivan liked the Penguins to play, it was all about north-south constantly. It was Sullivan saying, I don't want the puck in my own defensive end. If you're a defenseman, your number one job, and once you've defended, is to get the puck out of the zone, get it to a forward, get it to a forward, get it to a forward, go north-south. That's not really the game that Carlson plays. And Muse let him do what he does, which is skate with the puck, be creative, use the middle of the ice, you know, get the puck and wait for things to happen in front of him before he makes a decision. And that was time that Sullivan didn't really want him to have in his system. So I think it's absolutely the system that Muse put in fit Carlson to a T, and he had a spectacular season. Well, the players voted him the MVP, and he's got another year left, and you would expect that you're going to see a similar season from him because even though he's getting older, just like everybody else, he still played at a really, really high level this season. He's 35 right now, and he's still got some hockey left in him.
Bob Grove, you've always been very generous with your time. I went over the time limit. We usually try to not have you on the air this long because I know you're a busy guy. We appreciate your taking time to talk to us throughout the season. Unless you want to talk Pirate baseball at some point, I promise not to bother you again until training camp next year.
It's never a bother to talk hockey with you guys.
The training camp is only it's in September.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say it's you don't get much time off if you go to.
No, and I will add. Remember, next year, the season goes to 84 games next year.
Oh yeah.
The NHL regular season schedule for the first time ever is going to start in September, so they'll be in camp even a little bit earlier. So. Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Well, then just put them on hold. Just put them on the hold, and we'll.
Are they shaving 2 games off the preseason? Is that it?
Yeah, they're taking games off, which is good for everybody. Yeah. I think it's good for the fans. It's good for the players for sure, and it's that's where they're going to pick it up. And I think everybody's supportive of it, so we'll see.
That always shocks me every year. They're in camp for about 3 days, and they're playing a preseason game. It's always very quick.
It's not like they have a huge playbook they have to memorize.
That's right. So, hey, Bob, thanks so much. We appreciate how many times you've joined us over the years. If you want to talk Pirate baseball, heck, we'll have you on for that. Not a bad season so far for the Bucks. So. Hey.
Yeah, good for the Buccos. I'm glad to see them doing well. Thanks, guys.
All right, Bob. Take care. Bob Grove joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Late edition, 8:55 p.m. right now. I'm showing, 54 degrees outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. That's Bill Madden. What did I say, 55 degrees? 64 degrees.
Yeah.
What did I say, 64 degrees? Yeah. That's Bill Madden. I'm Doug Saltzman. Stick around. We'll wrap things up.
Looking to start a career in nursing? The Indiana County Technology Center is now recruiting for its part-time 16-month practical nursing program at the Connellsville Career and Technology Center. Named the 2025 Best in Fayette winner for Best Post-Secondary School in Fayette County, ICTC Connellsville offers a flexible program designed for real life, combining in-person classes, hybrid learning, and clinical experiences at sites close to home. But don't wait, spots are limited and filling fast. Classes meet just 2 evenings a week from 5 to 9 p.m., plus daytime clinicals every Friday and every other Saturday. Graduates can also earn college credits and gain advanced standing to continue up the nursing career ladder. With a 97% pass rate on licensure exams, now is the time to secure your place for the August start date. Federal financial aid and PA CareerLink funding are available for those who qualify. To learn more or apply today, visit indianacountytechnologycenter.edu/practical nursing.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future health care expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, where Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075. When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, and Saturdays, 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Braggs a call today, 724-439-3228, for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has two convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borges.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
That's Paul Simon.
No, it's not. It's Chevy Chase.
That's good. If anybody's seen that video, he knows Bill. You know what Bill's talking about over there. I want to thank Bob Grove. What a great guy.
Yeah.
Gets called in and does analysis for lots of
Hey,
stations.
call him and do hockey in the middle of summer.
Oh, that's right. We should have him back on soon. CBS News coming up at 9 o'clock. I lied to you earlier, folks. We'll be back for about 9-10 minutes right before the Pirate pregame show starts tonight at 9:14 and 45 seconds.
Right. The game starts at 9:40.
9:40, the game starts. And of course, the Pirates are out west taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. But before that, let's hit that CBS News at the top of the hour on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Christopher Cruz in Washington. President Trump has hit the pause button on the U.S. effort to guide ships stranded in the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran analyst Omid Memarian.
That might mean that Iranians and the U.S. and Pakistanis are on track to get to a framework that is workable, and the U.S. sees a potential in making a deal with the Iranians.
Indeed, in a social media post, the president wrote that he was pausing the effort for a short period to give space for U.S. efforts to finalize a settlement with Iran to finally end the war. CBS News projects Sherrod Brown has won the U.S. Senate Democratic Special Primary in Ohio. The former senator will face John Husted, who was appointed to the Senate seat in early 2025 after J.D. Vance became vice president. CBS News also projects that Vivek Ramaswamy, endorsed by President Trump, will win the Republican primary for Ohio governor. Tennessee has become the latest southern state to consider redrawing its congressional map after the U.S. Supreme Court severely weakened the Voting Rights Act. Republican Governor Bill Lee has called legislators into special session. Here's CBS's Nicole Valdez.
These are hundreds of people that have come from all across the state of Tennessee to protest this special session, one they say they were given just days notice of, to redraw the congressional maps here in Tennessee and essentially break up Tennessee's 9th congressional district. That includes the city of Memphis. It's the only Democratic district left in the state of Tennessee, and it is a majority-minority district.
Colorado is getting coated with an unusually heavy amount of snow for this time of year. CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano has that.
It was weather whiplash in the Colorado mountains after days of summer-like temperatures, heavy snow.
Whoa, slow, man,
The late spring storm could bring as much as 2 feet to places like Estes Park, west of Boulder. And with the snow piling up into Wednesday, commuters are being warned of the slick and dangerous roads. And the snow's heavy, so it could cause broken tree limbs and downed power lines.
A Colorado Rockies-New York Mets game has been postponed. The Department of Education is investigating the private women's school Smith College in Massachusetts for admitting trans women. CBS's Stacey Lynn has that.
The probe will look at whether the all-women's college violates Title IX rules tied to federal funding. Officials say they're reviewing whether admitting trans women affects sex-based protections in areas like housing and athletics. Smith, which has accepted transgender students for years, says it is complying with federal law, but it is not commenting on the investigation.
This is CBS.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible?
Great storytelling.
Storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on. Why?
It's time for 60 Minutes.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Ronnie Wood are releasing a new Rolling Stones album.
1, 2, 3, and... It's called Foreign Tongues, the Rolling Stones' 25th studio album, set to hit July 10th. The follow-up to their Grammy-winning album, Hackneyed Diamonds. 2 tracks already out, including In the Stars. The band's re-teaming with producer Andrew Watt. The Stones say there will be a performance from their late drummer Charlie Watts from one of his last recording sessions. Other guests on the album include Paul McCartney and Steve Winwood. Matt Wolf, CBS News.
13 Washington, D.C. police officers have been placed on administrative leave as an internal investigation continues into how the department compiles crime statistics. Officials say the action follows a referral from the U.S. Attorney's Office. None of the officers have been fired, and they all have appeal rights. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
This is your local station, WMBS. This Weather Watch is being brought to you by Maloney's Restaurant, Main Street, Uniontown. Maloney's Restaurant, serving authentic Italian cuisine in Uniontown since 1950. Call 724-437-2061 for weekly specials and to place your order. Overnight low is 58. Cloudy on Wednesday with rain early, the high 60. Cloudy skies Wednesday night, the low 45. Mostly cloudy on Thursday, 57. Partly cloudy 65 for Friday. Showers early Saturday, the high 69. Partly cloudy on Sunday, afternoon showers for Mother's Day, a high of 75. This Weather Watch has been brought to you by Maloney's Restaurant. Let Maloney's cater your special occasion. Choose from their banquet menu and ask about their popular banquet room to make your next event special. Call 724-437-2061. This is your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Are there some listeners out there, Bill, saying, is he still on the air? Won't Doug Saltzman ever shut up, for heaven's sakes? No, don't panic. I'm not on much longer.
By the way, yes and yes.
Yes and yes, right. Bill has told me in no uncertain terms that I need to be off at 9:14 and 45 seconds.
Right.
Do I have that right?
You have it correct.
I think I have that right. Exactly. That's when
So,
we go
for those of you running stopwatches right now,
to the Pirate pregame show tonight. So what is this right now? This is the Bill and Doug pregame show before the pregame
the
show.
pre-pregame show.
The pregame show. Of course, the Pirates' first pitch tonight in Arizona versus the Diamondbacks is at 9:40 p.m. I'm always surprised sometimes. They're called the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're not called the Phoenix Diamondbacks. Now, that makes sense. There's not another team in Arizona.
There's not another team really within hundreds of miles.
I was always surprised when they let the Marlins call themselves the Florida Marlins when there's other Major League Baseball teams in the state.
Well, no, the thing is that they want to be a regional team.
Right. But wouldn't the other teams in Florida be mad that they got the name Florida Marlins?
Yeah, I would think. Well, there's only one other.
Right.
Tampa Bay.
Right. But I I mean, it makes sense. Minnesota Vikings on the football end. Yes, it's the only team. It's not called the Minneapolis Vikings.
Yeah, Green Bay is so far away.
That's right, Green Bay. They could call themselves the Wisconsin Packers, I guess, but Green Bay Packers.
Well, actually, years and years and years ago, the Packers used to play 2 or 3 games in Milwaukee every year.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Back in
I
County
did not
Stadium.
know that. Weird, wild stuff.
I mean, we're talking. Thank you, Johnny. That's pretty wild. I used to be able to do a better Johnny Carson than I am now. Anyway.
We're supposed to be talking Pirates pregame. I'm going to bring up football here. Cleveland is building a domed stadium. What's wrong with them?
And they only built the other new stadium like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say it was built after Acrisure Stadium.
Right.
So I don't.
After Cleveland got the Browns back.
Right. Yeah, they built. So I don't know why. Why do they feel the need for a dome stadium? It'd be like the Packers having a dome stadium.
Well, you know why? Because they won a Super Bowl.
They won a Super Bowl, yeah. And I see no problem. I don't see anything wrong with a Super Bowl be played in cold weather, for crying out. It's going to sell out. It's not like they're not going to sell out a Super Bowl. Well, back to the Pirates.
And they want ideal conditions so that nobody could say, well, the Buffalo Bills had an advantage because they're used to playing in the snow.
Poo-poo Purdue. I hate to use such harsh language.
I know. Well, thank you.
We're going to talk Pirate baseball tomorrow with Bill Hughes from the Herald Standard. But it was a crazy series. They scored 18 runs in 4 games against the St. Louis Cardinals and got swept.
Right.
And then they went crazy against the first-place team. I was at the 9-1 game. It was one of the few games I've ever left early. It was out of hand. The Pirates were winning. It was cold. I was with my daughters. I didn't want to stay. And then they scored, 17?
Right. And then
One. Yeah. Now, Elias Sports Bureau is the only one, Bill, that could check into this.
and
Has a
they
team
would.
ever won a game with 17 runs and won the next game with 1?
Or even double digit in the next game, they only score 1.
So that's Elias Sports Bureau stuff. I don't know how do you have to pay to get answers from Elias Sports Bureau? I don't know how they handle that.
Yeah, I've never actually dealt with them.
I've not dealt
so
with
I
them
just-
either. But that was bizarre to score 9 runs, 17 and 1, and win all 3 games against the first place team.
Right, but I will take it.
You put us. There's a division in the American League. The Pirates would be in first place, and they're in last place in the Central.
There are some divisions, I think, where none of the teams are above 500.
Well, that's the one. Yeah, that was the one. And of course, they're the only division still, I believe, where every team is over 500.
Yeah. So
The,
who now if we had said that going into May, the Pirates are going to be like 16 and 11, we'd say, wow, they're probably in first place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's no complaints about the season so far. We always say wait till 50 games in, then you have a sense of what's really happening in baseball, which is crazy when you think about how big the season is.
162 games.
Yeah, and so we'll wait and see what happens after the first 50. And but so far so good.
I'm not complaining. It's been fun to watch.
Just-
Well, except for those first 2 games where O'Neill Cruz couldn't figure out where he was playing. But
my high school baseball coach used to get so upset with me because it didn't matter if it was a grounder to the. It didn't matter where the ball was. I was running in. He said later. He said, "I don't care if it's a bunt to the pitcher. I want you running backwards 10 feet. I don't want you running in every time the ball's hit because it would go flying over my head."
And Cruz, I think, still does that to a degree.
I think he does.
Takes
He blew one the other day. He called off Reynolds in left field.
Yeah, then he lost.
And he couldn't find the ball, and it bounced over the but we won the game. But yeah, that's a little frustrating at times. But as you heard me say earlier, folks, I am under strict instructions from Bill Madden that we must be done with this segment of the Pirate pregame show before the pregame
you
show.
have exactly 2.5 minutes.
At 9:14 and 45 seconds. If not, I'll be in the middle of a sentence and
Well,
then
I
Bill will
have
hit the
to
microphone.
stay here. I have to take the phone calls.
There we go. Yeah, then we start complaining, for heaven's sake. So Pirate baseball coming up there in Arizona. So if you want to stay up late tonight, that first pitch is at.
When you get to Arizona, do you have to take off your rainbow shades?
Is that what you think?
No, that's that's an obscure song.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, all right. Do you have time to explain it?
Yeah, well, Mark Lindsay did a song called Arizona.
Okay.
And the chorus was Arizona, take off your rainbow shades.
Oh. See, that's beyond me. Nobody knows music more than
Well, you were like 4 when that came out.
Yeah, when Nick and I don't know what one of the liner music is, that's, of course, the music that plays after a commercial before we come back on with the show. I mention it on air. Usually I get a text message from Bill Madden saying that is All the Young Dudes by Mott the Hoople or something.
I believe it's usually Idiot Boy. It's Mark.
Yeah, it's Mott the Hoople.
So actually, that would be a good line.
All the Young Dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, as you know, and you've taught me this, Bill, that it's supposed to be no lyrics in that line of music. So I don't know when So what you need is like an Allman Brothers song that goes 14 minutes before the first lyric.
Yeah.
There are also some Yes songs like that too, that go for.
Well, the other thing is they need to be recognizable.
Right. All the Young Dudes by. I once saw Mott the Hoople as part of who was it? Was Steppenwolf? Oh no, it was Alvin Lee in 10 Years Laughter, not Mott the Hoople, and Roger McGuinn from the Byrds. They were all in one concert. It was a fun concert. The old what was that called? The Syrian Mosque in Oakland, which they tore down and promised to put something else up. It's been a parking lot for the last 30 years.
Well, parking lot is something else.
I guess so. Yeah, not exactly the most exciting.
No,
in the world.
exactly. You're not going to see Cat Stevens playing in there.
No, I don't think so, or whatever his name is. I think you went back to Cat Stevens.
Yeah, he did. Yusuf Islam, by the way.
Yeah. I'm Doug Saltzman. More importantly, that's Bill Madden producing the show tonight, joining me for a lot of the interviews, and I appreciate that, Bill. It's good to have you in studio. I'll be back tomorrow from 5 till 9 o'clock with Nick. Good heavens. Pirate Baseball is coming up next on your local
You
station.
get the Iron Man Award.
WMBS Uniontown. Again, that's Bill. I'm Doug. Enjoy the game.
The Pittsburgh Pirates pregame show on WMBS is brought to you by Goodwin Como Attorneys at Law. When you need award-winning local attorneys, look no further than Goodwin Como. Righting wrongs, securing justice.
It's now time for Pittsburgh Pirates baseball on your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS, being brought to you today by Goodwin Como PC Attorneys at Law, Geeby and Skozek Tire Center, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, Kelly Clark, Auto Land Hyundai in Uniontown, Armstrong, the fastest, most reliable internet, Henry and Stewart Audiology, Thurby's Riverside Ford, Ogden Directories. Get your easy-to-use Big Book today, Laurel Ridge Eye Care and Dr. Aaron Sobel, the Quattrini Law Offices in Uniontown, Pittsburgh, and Somerset, Coldwell Banker, Laurel Ridge Realty, Zen's Construction Warehouse, Auto Land Hyundai, and by State Farm Agent Nathan Ferguson. Thank you for joining us once again for Pittsburgh Pirates baseball on your home for the Bucks in Fayette County, your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, W266DB, WMBS, Uniontown.
It's a great night for baseball here from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Tonight it's the Pirates and the Arizona Diamondbacks here in Game 1 of this 3-game series. And we welcome you into the booth. Joe Block and Matt Capps with you here tonight. Walt Ellis is our producer-engineer with us here in the booth. Mike Kravitz back home at our Network Control Center getting you ready for some baseball as the Pirates coming off a 3-game series sweep of the Cincinnati Reds back at PNC Park. Enjoying the day off yesterday here in the desert. And tonight open against a Diamondbacks team that has lost 9 of its last 12 and has been on the road for most of the last 2 weeks, including playing at Mexico City. So it's been a long sojourn for the Diamondbacks, who are glad to be home tonight. And for the Pirates, playing some of their better baseball over the weekend, of course, against Cincinnati, doing it in a variety of fashions, scoring 9 runs on Friday night, winning 9-1 with some great hitting and pitching. Then out slugging the Reds on Saturday, winning 17-7. And then it was a 1-0 thriller on Sunday.